It happens to everyone. Waiting in line for your morning coffee. You scroll social media and news on your phone. What you find depresses you. Thousands of migrants are fleeing a civil war, risking their lives only to be turned back at borders. Speculations have sent the housing markets into a frenzy, and employment numbers are tumbling down. Journalists have uncovered a decades-long cover-up of child abuse by coaches and doctors within competitive gymnastics in your country. Closing the news app, you open your family group chat. Maybe one of your siblings posted something funny, and at this rate, you could use some cheering up. The group chat has blown up overnight, and what you see makes your heart sink. Bushfires are raging again. There's one burning only 2 suburbs over from where your cousins live. Everyone is frantic with worry. At this point, you walk away, coffee in hand, tense, miserable, and confused. You think, this can't go on. Something needs to be done. Someone needs to step up. We need a plan to fix all this social injustice, economic chaos, and environmental destruction. This is where the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, come in. Fixing the kinds of problems that bring your entire day down in the morning coffee line can't happen in just one way. The SDGs cover sustainability from different angles: socially, economically, and environmentally. They set global goals for the 3 Ps: people, planet, and prosperity. The SDGs form the heart of the 2030 Agenda, an action plan adopted by all 193 countries of the United Nations. They call for decent jobs, quality education, good health, gender and income equality, clean energy and water, biodiversity, and climate action. They aim to reach sustainable development by 2030. Governments play a key role in achieving these goals, but they're not the only players. Businesses, civil society, Indigenous leaders, academia, and the general public all contribute as well. You might wonder where they came from. The SDGs were born in 2012 at the Rio Plus 20, a UN conference on sustainable development in Rio de Janeiro, which was the largest conference ever held by the UN. Until 2012, there were different international agreements that dealt with environmental challenges such as climate change and biodiversity loss. And there were the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, that aim to achieve certain social targets in developing countries by the year 2015. The countries meeting at Rio Plus 20 decided that a more comprehensive set of universal goals was needed to tackle the urgent social, economic, and environmental challenges facing the world. This kicked off the broadest consultation ever run by the UN. An unprecedented effort was made to get input from as many people as possible, particularly those who don't often get a say in international agreements. Over 10 million people around the world participated in the consultations and helped shape the SDGs. Apart from national governments, major stakeholder groups that were consulted included women, children and youth, indigenous peoples, NGOs, local authorities, workers and trade unions, business and industry, scientific and technological community, and farmers. I am pleased to share some good news for people and planet. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said to a packed room of press delegates. The good news? After 3 years of negotiations and debate, 193 countries had agreed to a set of development goals more bold and ambitious than anything that has come before them. The SDGs. The due date for the SDGs is the year 2030, which makes the 2020s the decade to deliver. But how can we know if progress on any of these monumental issues has been made? The 17 SDGs are built on an evidence-based framework of 169 quantitative targets and 232 indicators that accompany them. This ensures the SDGs are clear, concise, time-bound, and measurable, which helps governments and decision makers to include the SDGs in their planning. This means that we can keep track on each of the SDGs' progress. To achieve the SDGs, all countries are expected to set up policies and investment plans, and to use the targets and indicators to track their progress. They then report their progress to the UN. This is done through voluntary national reviews, VNRs, with a selection of countries reporting each year. Most countries, including Australia, have already submitted their first VNR. Governments are crucial in achieving the SDGs because they create and finance policies that support the goals.
Yeah, good morning to you, everyone. We are glad to have you in the fourth week of our masterclass session for the SDG Advocate Programme. We are delighted to have each and every one of you and believe it's been a wonderful week. Yeah, not taking so much of our time with introduction this morning, we are going straight to the first masterclass session today on design thinking, which is going to be led by a wonderful expert all the way from Pakistan in person of Dr. Miriam. Dr. Miriam is she's an expert and a mentor of the Unleash program. I know some of us might have heard about Unleash program, and she's also the partnership specialist of Pure Health and she has various expertise in aspects of health, design thinking, and innovation process. Dr. Miriam, it's a delight pleasure to have you on this training this morning. Thank you for taking your time despite the very busy schedule you have over there. Good morning, Ma. It's a pleasure to have you on this call.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. And it's afternoon here. So good morning to all of you. My time zone is a bit different. And shall we start if everybody's around and we can start off? And I'll share my screen.
We have 90% of our participants being from YouTube, and we have a fraction of them here also. But basically, the major number of them are on YouTube, and that's where they are connecting from as well. We can start the session.
Right, great. So I'm stopping my video, and while I I'll share my screen. So let me give me a moment, and I'll share my screen. Give me a moment. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes, perfectly.
All right, so let's start off. I think we have 30 minutes if I'm right.
No,
right?
1 hour. The session is for 1 hour.
Okay, the session is for 1 hour, but I broke it off into 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll have question answers and activities in between. So I'll guide around you, right? So
Absolutely.
Let's start off. Yeah. Okay, so I'm starting, right?
Yes, you can start now.
Okay, all right. So as Emmanuel said, my name is Dr. Mariam. I'm a pharmacist by background, and with that, I'm a design thinking practitioner. I have several other expertise as well, and I worked into this innovation and design thinking field early as well. It's very different. We have okay. So there are different definitions. We'll go through the basics of design thinking today because 1 hour is really short. So yeah, here you are. So basically in the introduction, I'll define and list the 5 steps that how do we go through the design thinking and how do we choose a space and what are these steps. These are the 2 main goals of this session. And here what is design thinking? So design thinking is basically a problem solving approach, or you can say it's kind of a methodology that aims to improve the lived experience of people. Now, when we talk about lived experience of people, it's into different different sectors, different fields, but the approach could be same. It can be in healthcare sector, it can be into energy sector, it can be into social sector. You can apply this in numerous, or I'd say any of the SDG that you're currently learning or you're working. So you can apply this methodology even into your personal life. It's very relevant. And give me a moment because my background has some sound, and then I'll continue. Please give me a moment.
Hello, doctor. We can't hear your audio. We can, I think, and those of us joining, the state representative joining, please, it's very important you rename your profile. I mean, it's very important you rename your display name. Very, very important. Let's ensure we do that.
Madam, give me a second. I have Azan in background. So as soon as this finishes, I'll continue.
All right. That's fine.
All right. So apologies for the break. Okay. So here's the definition. So what I was saying is design thinking is approach, or you can say it's a methodology. You can apply it even into your personal lives or any, other sector wherever you're working, you're studying. So if you're really a problem solver and you call yourself a problem solver and you're interested in solving problems for people, then you can practice it easily wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Now, here is a question. As we said that design thinking works with the experience, and it's really about how you improve the experience of people. Now, here's a question you can think about. Is it a coffee maker or is it a person enjoying a cup of coffee? It's always more than any product or a service. Now think about it, and you can raise your hand and answer that whenever you go for a coffee, any coffee shop or anything, is it really the coffee maker you see or the experience you seek? I'm sure the answer will be that it's the experience, it's the ambience, and that is why you select a specific coffee shop or you go to a specific place. So it's all about experience in our lives. All the products or any service we interact with, it's always about our experience, and design thinking is all about how do we improve that experience or ease that process for other people. Design thinking really requires you to consider a person's experience in order to focus on their human needs. Now, it's not only about the experience, but it's also about the need that you're fulfilling and exactly the problem the people are having. You're solving it and easing it with a great experience. So it's a combination that you're first meeting the need, and then you're meeting the need in a really easy and good way, and that is why people stuck to you, because you have put that experience for them that just not only focus on their needs but also provides and eases them within the process. Now here is a sentence, as you can see on the screen, that a vase is a vase. Everybody knows a vase. What a vase is, right? It's to put flowers. Now, if you have pencils and papers, I'd like to request you that grab your pencils, pens and papers, whatever you have, and you can, we can have a quick exercise. So I'll wait for a minute, and you can pull out your papers and pens, and then I'll tell you what to do next. And raise your hand when you're done. Do you have pens and papers? Everybody, you can show me. I can see the cameras. You don't need to unmute yourself. Okay, I got one raised hand. Others? Just raise your hand when you have your pen and paper in your hand. Or show me in the camera, whatever is easy for you. I can see two people, so Koto and Abbas. I can see Felicity, Katsina. Others? Sandra, Jennifer. Okay, good enough. So I assume that half of you have your pens and papers. Now, my question is, draw a vase with a flower, like really quick. 1 minute for you guys, and show me on your camera if you can, or send picture. Very quick. Draw a vase with a flower and show me when you're done. When you're done, show me on the camera, or you can send a picture in the chat box when you're done and have drawn the vase with the flowers. Anybody, anyone can go first. Anyone who's done with it. So Koto, if you're done, you can show it in the camera, because I can only see you in the camera. All of the cameras are off. Emmanuel, have you drawn the vase with the flowers? You're mute. I can't hear you.
Okay, there is something I'm also considering here, looking at YouTube audience. Just like I said, we have a
Yeah,
Ujidumbo.
I am. Yes, I'm conscious of that. But the people who are really like, who can interact, that they can like do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those of us on YouTube, please kindly draw your flowers and send it to the WhatsApp platform on.
Yeah, you can do that. I just
Sure.
need only one or two people. If you're like done, you can just show me. I just want to, okay, here we go. It's Plateau State. Okay, great. I can see one picture. That's great. And I assume all of the others also have drawn similar kind of, a flower pot and flowers into it. So, okay. Now the next step for this activity is listen the sentence. Now you have to redraw it. Now you have to design a system which provides fragrance to people. Now, whatever comes to your mind, you can draw it on the paper. Design a system which provides fragrance to the people. Anything that comes to your mind, you can draw it on the paper. It goes for the YouTube audience as well, whoever is online, you can draw it. And I'll wait for a minute so you can draw it and anyone can show it. Okay, great. I can see Plateau State have drawn something. Fragrance is coming out of a bottle. I assume it's a perfume bottle or something. Okay, great. So, thank you for drawing whatever you have drawn, and we'll continue with the session. The idea for for this activity is that when you talk of design thinking, it's not it's very open ended. It's not just that you close your mindset that you just have a thing and you put flowers into it. When you notice when I rephrase the sentence that you can design a system which can provide fragrance, you constantly your mind has changed that it fragrance can not only be provided by flowers, it should not be a vase, it can be a bottle, it can be something else, you can fit into it. So the idea is open. When you think designing solutions for problems, then you open your mind to a different set of ideas, and you can really solve the problem, not just fulfill the need, but you can solve the problem very easily. So that is why I wanted you to practice this exercise, and whenever you come across any problem, you try to rephrase it, you try to you know uh, do it in a better way. Now you can see the double diamond approach. This is called a double diamond approach, that and going through the steps of design thinking, that how do we go step by step and how do we go towards the solution. So the first step of design thinking is empathize. The second step is reframe, and this is called the problem space. So in the first session or in the first step, you really focus on the problem, that what problem you're trying to solve, and then you go towards the solution space. In solution space, you have two more steps, or you can say three more steps. It's ideate, prototype, and test. So once you're done with empathizing, reframing the problem and defining the problem, that what actually problem you're trying to solve, then you go towards the solution space, which is ideate, prototype, and test. And we'll go through one step by step, and you will understand that what do we really do in each step. And this is called double diamond approach. And we have also different school of thoughts. If we go for Stanford, they define it through 5 steps. They don't call it double diamond, but the basic 5 steps remains same: empathize, reframe, ideate, prototype, and test. Here are the different school of thoughts which define the steps of design thinking. The design thinker group says it's empathize, reframe, ideate, prototype, test. As you can see, the Stanford D school says empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test. The idea school of design thinking says gather, generate, make, share. You can take any steps, but the idea remains same, that you start off with the problem and you end up with the solution. On the above, on the black line, you can see different tools that we use in the design thinking approach, and we call them methods or tools. We can do stakeholder mapping, context mapping, road mapping. We can do research. Which can be quantitative, qualitative. Some terms you might be able to understand. Some terms are new for you, but these are different methods, and there are also more different methods and tools that you can really use in each step. So here are some tools, like I usually use journey mapping. Then you put the statements, then you go towards the solution. I'll stop for a minute. You can take notes if you want to write the steps, or you want to write the tools, and in the end of the session you can ask about any tool if you want to, and I can explain it. So I'll stop for a moment and you can write and take notes if you want. You can write any tool which you want to ask and you want me to explain. I can explain it in the end of the session because we have really short time. So I have some specific tools that I can explain only. Okay. So I'll go through these steps, and this is from Stanford D School, and we have more steps into each step. So I'll go one by one. This is a process diagram that we really go through, that how do we actually start and do design thinking. Let's say we start with empathizing with people. Now, empathizing with whom? We empathize with the people or the audience or the users whom we are solving the problem for. We start off with empathizing to really know that how do they feel about the experience, what they're experiencing, what the problem is. We conduct interviews, we uncover emotions, we really uncover that what are the pain points we're trying to solve, and we really need to hit that point to come towards the solution. We do not design a solution first and then go to the problem. That, let's say that many of the people nowadays are doing that. We can design an app. So we don't really go through that approach. We have to go through the problem first and then the solution. Not every problem can be solved by tech or an app or a web. It can be solved by other ways as well. So when we go through design thinking, we have to start off from the problem. We have to start from the users. So we empathize, and once we empathize, we know what the pain points are. We go towards defining the problem. We create a human-centric problem statement, identify what are the meaningful surprises, what are the tensions, as I said, what are the pains, what are the gains. We infer insights, really, that what is that people need and what are they really seeking from that experience if we solve that problem. Then we go towards ideation or ideate phase. We brainstorm different ideas of solution because we know the problem through this stage. We build in other ideas, we suggest judgments, anything or everything can be added into this phase. We gather all the ideas and then we filter them, that what ideas are practical and what ideas are not practical. So the ideas who are practical, we can take them forward for the solution part. Now in the prototype stage, we create, you can say, a dummy solution or a small level solution that provides a minimum, viable product or solution for us. It's a demonstration of a bigger solution, but you can really test here that what is working and what's not working. Let's say if you're creating an app, you can have 3-4 features and give it to the users whom you're designing for, and then they come back and say, this feature is not working, and instead you can add some other feature, or instead you can design it this way, or maybe you can remove any feature. So prototype stage is really, you're trying to build and think and learn, and to understand that what exactly you need to pitch to your audience. Is it working, is it not working? Then again, it's connected with the test phase. We always go through prototype and test phase together, because obviously you have created a dummy solution, you have to test it on the users. So you test with customers to refine the solution more and gather more data to improve your solution, gain deeper empathy, and whatever failures are coming, you try to solve them in that stage. So you can put prototype and test phase together. You can do it, it's a really small distance between these two steps, so you can easily take them together, you can separate them, whatever is required for the phase. And this is the solution space, right? And then assesses the you can say it's an extra step, it's included in the test phase, that you evaluate your project, you evaluate your solution critically, you're open to feedback, you're taking feedback from users. And as I said, they might come back with the feedback that you can remove this feature, you can remove the bug, you can remove something that you're offering them, you can add something that you're offering them. There are multiple things that you can add or remove. You can have your indicators change, so you're basically refining your solution. And this cycle goes on. It doesn't mean if you go through design thinking from problem to solution, it's the end. No, once you're done with the solution, you can always come back to the first step. You can always empathize again, you can always add anything that you missed in the process, or if you're refining, you can always come back to this stage. So it's a reiterative process. You do it again and again and again, unless your product is something that you're on the stage that now it's very refined and you don't have new target segment or market, and it's very refined and smoothened. Here we come with the empathize step. We'll understand how empathizing is an exercise to identify needs, because needs is where we start for the users, and then we improve the experience. If this is a field exercise, which I always do, because we are doing this online, so we can't really go into this step, we can always go into the field, examine the selected space wherever we are working or we want to work. We can take notes and select important needs. In the define stage, we define selected needs in terms of human-centric problem statement, the human-centered design thinking process. Empathy is the first step, as I said, of design thinking. It's the foundation of human-centered design process. Now, what do we do to empathize? How do we really empathize? We really, we really say that we feel the emotions of other people when we are trying to solve a problem. So empathizing is not just feeling, but you are trying to solve that problem. So when you're trying to solve that problem, you just not feel, you also try to think that what will you do if you are in the same situation to solve this, actually, not just sympathize them. You go one step beyond sympathy. Okay, there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. So it's really, really important to understand where we start to empathize. This is the first step, and this is really important. So how to empathize? For empathize, you have to observe. You have to observe in a way that you can view your users and their behaviors in the context of their lives. Let's say if you want to work in a hospital, or if you want to propose a solution regarding people coming to hospital, you just go to a hospital, you sit and in the emergency room, you sit for a while, you observe what the user is doing. Now the user is frustrated, we know, we enter the ER room, we have to go to the counter, we need to get ourselves registered, then there are forms, a lot of process, and we get to talk to the doctor, then they don't allow to enter. So there's a huge frustrating process. So all of this, if you want to really solve this, and you're trying to think that how do we solve this or ease this process, you really need to observe. So you observe your users, you see how their behavior is and where they're coming from, because every user is different. So you really need to know that what kind of people you're proposing solution for. Are you proposing it for younger people? Are you proposing it for elder people, for example? Because we're talking about the hospital example. Every kind of people are coming. There are people who are from young age, their children coming with parents, there are elder people coming, there are people, professionals coming. So there are different user segments. So you really need to select, and you need to observe the users, where they're coming from, and then you can really go forward towards the solution. Then the second step is you engage with them, you interact with them, you interview them through, you know, both as casual and short intercept encounters. Now, once you're done with the observation, you can really have conversations with them with the consent. You can have interviews with them, you can have a dialogue with them with either channel, that, you know, you're trying to design a solution, would you like to talk with us? And then you can, you know, interact with them, that what really is the pain point. Is it coming to the hospital? Example back, that is it really coming to the hospital, the commute thing is really a problem for them, the waiting experience is a problem for them, to deal with the receptionist is the problem for them. So you can, I'm just giving you idea that how do you engage. So once you're done with the observation, you can engage with them, that to know that what really is the problem and what is the pain point that you're trying to solve. Then you immerse, you experience what your user experiences. This is very hard again, because you trying to put yourself in the shoes of your users. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. Sometimes when you're designing an app, you, for let's say, again, back to the hospital example, if you're designing an app for an hospital user, you can't really go to each hospital department and be the user and experience that flow. But wherever you can, if you can experience only one department, it's definitely recommended to go and do that, because you cannot really improve the experience without feeling it. You can just propose it on the basis of your assumptions, on the basis of your theories, your hypotheses. You really don't know what goes on with the experience. So it's always recommended that you can have, once you have that experience, you design solution better. If not, that's also fine, you engage with the users. Here's a video which I wanted to show, but due to short of time and we have audience from YouTube, I cannot show it. It's about human connection, basically. As I said, that it's really, really important that you engage with users and you really try to connect with the users before giving any solution to their problem. Now, here's an activity again. You can do it right now, you can do it later, you can write it down. It's very easy. It's what, how, and why. And it's about empathizing, that how really you empathize with your users. You can see the picture. Now, you can have these columns, you can write it down whenever you're trying to solve a problem. And you start off, you can see in the photo, what are they doing? You can see two children. A little girl is picking root vegetables. Both of them are smiling. Now, how they are doing it? She's smiling, even though it looks bigger than her. It looks fun. She's smiling and she's holding it very easily. It looks it's heavier, but still she's carrying it. Why are you doing it in this way? Take a guess. Now, we can take a guess because we are going towards solution. Therefore, we have to do what, how, and why. Somehow it's been made into a game. Gardening is fun. Getting messy is fun to her. Maybe she's doing it because it's a mischief. She wants to, make her parents, some kind of trouble. She's trying to create. So there are assumptions, and we do it because we really want to know that what user is trying to achieve. So this is very important. This is an activity. You can write it down. You can do it later, whatever problem you solve, as I said. Here is another example. Now here you can see it's a busy airport and people are rushing around. Now you can also do this exercise later, or maybe now, whenever you decide to. It's I like, I wish, and what if questions. These all activities are different tools that we use in empathizing step. It's present versus future. Now you can see the airport is very busy. Now you can say that it's a busy airport. Maybe the flight has been cancelled. Maybe they're switching some passengers to a different flight, or all the flights are on time, but it's a busy time. The pictures has been, so you have many assumptions by seeing the picture. It's the present. Now if you want to design a solution, you can really start to think that what future do I want? If this is the situation, that how do I handle it? And what if I'm in this situation, how do I try to solve it? Okay, coming towards the next step. Now the next step is define. Once you empathize with the users, you're solving for a younger generation, or you're solving this problem for somebody who is elderly, or whoever your users are. You define the problem. When you unpack and synthesize your empathy findings into compelling needs and insights which you really want to solve, and scope a specific and meaningful challenge. Why define? It's very important to define your solution. Let's say if I say that I want to design a solution for people coming to hospital. Now, who are the people you're designing the solution? Again, is it the children who are coming to a hospital? Is it the elders? Is it the doctors you're trying to solve the problem for? Is it the patients? And if they're patients, what kind of patients? So it's very important to define it very specifically, that this is the problem we are really going to solve. Because the more open-ended it is, the more open-ended will be the solution, and it really don't solve the problem in the end. And that is why many startups and many solutions fails, because they don't emphasize enough on being specific. You cannot solve all the problems in one time. You cannot improve the experience of all of the people coming to hospitals. You have to start from a small step, and then you can go bigger. So defining is very important. So the test, it's a good point of view. It provides focus, it frames the problem, it gives you how to compete for the ideas, it brainstorms by giving you how might we solve the problems into different ways. It has different benefits, and that is why it's really important to define. Now, how do you really define? You define it through this activity, which we cannot do right now. You define the user, as we did in the empathizer state. Then you define the need, right? And then you cover up it with the insight, and that is how you define. Now, here is an example. Let's say an overworked husband. What does he really need? He really needs to feels good about recycling. And the insight, where the user needs come from, it comes from that when things pile up, he feels behind, he feels frustrated, and ultimately the big pile on the curb feels more like generating waste than doing good. Now, this is the observation which you get from empathize stage, that your user is getting frustrated. Now, what do we really need about it? You need to feel good about recycling, so you can really propose a solution. So you combine the user with the need from the insight, and that is how you define it. You can write it down. I'll pause for a moment, the columns, and you can go through the define phase here. Now, here comes the example. How might we improve the grocery shopping experience in a manner that positively impacts people and environment? You can write down the example. I can wait for a minute, and you can make this columns: user, need, and insight. And then let's see how you come up with the with the solution, that what experience you really need to just design. I'll pause for a moment, and I'll give you a minute.
So, Doctor, please, can you kindly re-emphasize on that question again? For those who are not here, I think some are kind of lost. They thought you intentionally muted your audio. We appreciate you come over the question again.
Okay, I think there is some trouble going on because of the mic. Someone unmutes in between. So where did you guys lost me? I'll repeat.
So that's the task, the example part, starting from the example part, which you slide 19. We
Yes,
kindly
yes.
put on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, okay. Okay, so the example is how might we improve the grocery shopping experience in a manner that positively impacts people and environment? You can write down the question. It's just an example that we are on the stage, we defined our problem statement, and now we are going towards the solution. You can take this example as well. You can take another example, or you can have your own problem statement. Whatever you like to do, you can do it. It's just an example. You can write it down, and I'll consider this as example because now we are going to solution space or defining the solution. Here we are saying that we want to improve the grocery shopping experience, right? Now, coming towards the solution space. In the solution space, we're saying that we want to improve the grocery shopping experience. Now we want to ideate. We want to ideate the solution. We want to have ideas and we want to know that how do we really improve the experience. So in this step, we want to know that if there are any questions, how do we solve them and which questions are not answered. So we can create a why and how ladder. This is a tool we use for ideation. We can list steps needed to find answers to any questions we have that we have written down during our process of defining and empathizing. We can share and capture a story. We can have pictures from the field of real users and we can observe them and we can write down that, okay, let's say we don't have chairs in the grocery store and there are long queues, so we can might put some chairs. So we can do it into different ways. We can have a queue system, we can have a ticketing system. So there are different ideas. So in this step we write all the ideas to really solve the problem, which is here in the example is improving grocery shopping, right? The last and final step of design thinking is prototype and test. Now here, we revisit the field if needed. We draft steps to solve the defined problem statement. Let's say here we have the problem statement of improving the grocery shopping. So we can always, go back to the grocery store. We can see that, okay, this is the space. We might have missed something. Or if we are designing, let's say, a queue system or a ticketing system, but the space is not enough, then we have to come back and we have to work on another idea of the solution. So that is why you go reiterate, you go to the field, you prototype, you test, and you come back that how can you improve the solution that you initially proposed. And it's a cycle. You have to go back, reiterate again and again to improve your solution and keep improving. This is how design thinking works. It's not just that you define a problem, you propose a solution, and then it's done. No solution is a final solution. There's always a room of improvement. You can always go back to the field. You can always talk to the users, and then you can redefine and keep redefining the solutions. You can procure any necessary equipment that you need. You can set up any necessary appointments. You can execute, as I said, a prototype, a minimal viable product or a solution on small scale, and then you can run it by relevant stakeholders or users, and then you can see if it's really working. Coming towards, again, explaining the ideate step, this is the third step. First step is empathize, second step is define, and the third step is ideate. You ideate in the mode of your design process in which you aim to, generate radical design alternatives or design solutions. You can mentally represent it as a process of going wide. As I said, you can have many solutions and then you can filter it out. Then the fifth step is prototype and test. As I said, it's getting ideas and exploration out of heads into the physical world. whatever solution that you have thought of, let's say for improving the grocery experience, you thought that there can be an app in the mobile phone and people can order. But you really need an app to know that is it really working or not with the users. It's just in your mind you have proposed a solution that okay, we can improve the experience, grocery shopping experience by having an app. But if is it working in the real world, is it working with the users, yes or no, you have to prototype and test in the physical world. So a prototype can be anything that takes a physical form. It can be a wall post-it, it can be notes, it can be a space, as I said, it can be a queue system, it can be a ticketing machine, it can be some sort of waiting area, it can be anything. So you prototype and then you test. Now why is it important, you might ask, to prototype? Why can't we just have an app, have a solution, and just throw it on the users? You really can't. If you do it because if you do it that way and it fails, then you have to again come back and have to make the effort from stage one. So the benefit of doing it on a small scale or prototyping is that you know that where you're failing, whatever you have in your mind as a solution, it might not work in the real field. So you need to prototype and check it in the real world with the real users that, okay, this is what I'm thinking about my users, but is it really working? Now, let's say if you're designing again for the grocery shopping experience an app for the mobile phones, but what if the people who are coming to the store don't have phone? Or maybe they're elder people, they don't use an app. So in that case, that app idea or that app solution looks very good in your mind, but it's not working with your users or it's not fit to that solution part. That is why it's really important to prototype and to see if your solution is working or not, right? So it's very important for reasons like empathy gaining. It's a tool to deep your understanding of whatever space and user you have, what a pre-solution phase of project you are in. It helps you to explore, build more, to have multiple solutions in case you can, and to inspire others as well, that you can create prototypes, different solutions, and you can test and refine. The final stage is test. Testing is a chance to get feedback on your solutions, refine solutions to make them better, and continue to learn about your users. As I said, you have different user segments you are designing solution for initially. Because when you start off small, but if the solution is right, you can have more users, or let's say you can have more people who likes your solution. But in that case, you have to continue learning about them. You have to go back to the first step. You have to empathize, you have to talk with them, define your solution again, then you come to the ideation again, then you redefine the solution. So it's a cycle. You have to keep going to the design thinking cycle wherever and whenever it's needed. It's an iterative mode in which you place your your solution or your artifact, any product, any service that you're really designing for the solution of that problem. So prototype, it's a quote, and here I'll end and then we'll take questions. It's a quote that prototype as if you know you're right, but test if you know you're wrong. Let's say I have designed an app, I have a very well, problem statement, I have went through all the steps of design thinking, but now in the testing phase, which is the final phase, I will not assume that my solution is the best because I have researched well, I have a very well defined. It can go the other way. It might not will have this. It might not be the right solution or the solution at all. Maybe it will fail. So you have to keep that in mind that on the test stage, you can be wrong. You're wrong. And then you try to reassess and you take feedback and you think that, okay, this can be a feature. Because if you go with the mentality that I have worked enough, I have enough problem statement, I know what my users need, you cannot have a right solution and you cannot really improve on the solution. The idea of design thinking is really to reiterate and to keep doing the cycle, to go back to the empathize state, to ideate again and again, to redefine your problem, and then coming to prototype and test your solution. So here is, I'm ending my training, design thinking, and then we can, start taking questions. So I'll go to the screen and I'll hand over it to Emmanuel if he's there. And I can, if we have Zoom participants, you can post your questions in the comment box and I can start, answering. Emmanuel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you very much, Dr. Miriam. Thank you for this insightful session, which you've just led now. And definitely, I know that there are a lot of questions that will be coming up. Please, just the
Yeah.
usual, which we always do it. If you have a question, those of us on Zoom, kindly signify by raising your hand, and all other people on YouTube, please drop your question using the comment section. Those of us on YouTube, can you drop your questions using the comment section? I have, okay, a question. There's a question coming from Gift from Nasarawa State. Please, those of us that are on this YouTube platform that you've not added your state to your name, it's very important you adhere to instructions. Add your state to your name. If not, you're not going to be recognized. All right, please, Gift, you can unmute the mic and ask your question in 30 seconds, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you, Dr. Miriam, for the wonderful lecture. My question is on the prototype stage. Let's say you've gone through the process of, empathizing with these people, identifying the problem, searching for solution, and you have something at hand, but you just needed them to give you feedback on the solution you have given them. How then do you deal with unnecessary or irrelevant feedback? Thank you.
Okay, so you're asking how you get feedback, basically, right?
After you've gotten the feedback from them, how do you deal with irrelevant feedback?
Okay. So there are different ways of getting feedback. Whenever you introduce a service or a product, you must have seen that they might have survey forms. They might have, some kind of star rating system to evaluate their service or product, or you can write them off on an email that, do you like our service or product? So there are different ways you can do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Dr. Miriam. I also appreciate if you can talk. I think in the empathy aspect of design thinking, you talked about the what, the why. I also heard about this aspect of you asking the 5 whys. I will appreciate if you can speak on this as well.
Okay, so you were asking about the how and whys, the
Yes.
column thing that I've explained. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a tool. You can do it into different ways. It's a tool that you ask question that where, how, why you're doing it. So once you define a solution, now let's say take the example of grocery shopping, right? Now, who are you designing it for? Again, are you designing it for all of the users coming to the grocery stores, or you're just designing it for the elder people coming to grocery store, right? And then coming, how are you doing it? Are you just designing it remotely, or you're designing some physical form of solution to them? So this is how you break it down, basically, the solution. The more questions you ask yourself, the more answers you will get, because if you don't ask questions, you can't really have that solution defined. Let's say that I want to improve the grocery experience, but how, for whom, why? Now you're getting what I'm trying to say is you want to specify yourself that what exactly you want to solve the problem and who exactly you solve the problem for, right? Okay.
Yeah. So there is a question
uh,
from Olayomi. She
yeah.
asked, can you explain the human connection part extensively, ma?
Yes. So the human connection part is very important. We say that you have heard that nowadays any problem that's coming from, we design a tech solution and we say that, wow, it's a very productive thing, and it's a solution. But human connection is very, very important. You think about yourself, as I said, is it the coffee maker in the start? You must have seen the slide. That is it the coffee maker that's important, or is it the coffee itself, or is it the experience that you're taking? You think about your experience, or put yourself that you go to a specific coffee shop or you go to a specific market. Now there is a reason behind that, and that is what I'm talking about, that is the human connection you need to tap in, right? You select any place you go, you take any service, you select it by choice. And that is how our mind works. We don't randomly, go to service. There's always a connection behind that. Okay, I like how I'm attended to that store, so I'll go prefer that store. Or I like the coffee. I might not like the coffee itself, but I might like the sitting experience, or I might like how the people treat me. And I don't go to Starbucks because the receptionist is very rude. This is what human connection is. If it's the right connection and the right need you're solving, then you really have the right solution for your users. If you don't do the human connection part, then the design thinking won't work, because it's just throwing off the solution without knowing your users. And users are humans, right? It's not machines. Maybe in case of machines, maybe in future we don't really need the human connection, but we can't surpass that stage, because we all are humans and we really have some connections to any product or service we use. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. So we have some questions from our participant joining on YouTube. We have a question from Michael. He asks, what level or percentage of accuracy is permitted during design thinking process? Then there's another question that's from Aisha. She asks that, is design thinking a linear process moving from emphasis, definition, ideation, prototype, and testing?
Yes. Okay. Coming to the first question, there is no defined accuracy test if you talk about it whole, as an approach, design thinking as approach. But there are some different accuracy or usability testing methods or tests to certain solutions. Like if you design an app or a website, there are some defined tools and tests to know how accurate they are, because they are related to technical part. You need to know that in how much time the application is working, how much time it will take. So in that case, if your solution is a tech solution, you might have accuracy test or usability test. But if it's a service, let's say if it's just improving the, let's say, grocery experience, you really don't have tools or some kind of measurements that, okay, this is 90% accurate. No, that is why design thinking is been said a reiteration process, and you have to go back and think, and then you have to come back to the solution. It's a cycle you have to go through continuously, and then at a stage you will reach that, okay, these are my indicators that are showing that, okay, my solution is going well. But there are no numbers, you cannot put it, because there are different solutions, different types. In tech, yes, there are some accuracy and usability tests that you can use. There are different tools. And what is the other question after this?
Is design thinking a linear process moving from emphasis, definition, ideation, prototype, and testing?
Yes, you cannot say it's a linear process, but yes, it's a stepwise process. You cannot skip a step, or you cannot mingle the step, because this is how you have to follow the path of design thinking. If, let's say, if you don't empathize and you go towards solution, that is what I'm trying to explain. Let's say that I want to improve the hospital experience. Let's design an app. Now I don't know my users. I don't even know that my users use a phone or not. In that case, that application would not be the right solution. So you have to go through, empathize with your users, then you define your solution. That is why it's very important. It's a linear process. You have to go through every step to really know that the solution is right or not. It's not just that you're defining a problem and the solution, that's it. No, you are defining the right solution for your problem. And it's very important if you are going through the design thinking process. If you're just solution oriented, then it's not going to work. You don't need to apply design thinking. It's just throwing off the solution that, okay, we want to improve the experience, let's design an app. We don't care who our users are. So that's different. But if you're following design thinking, yes, you have to go through linearly through that process, starting off from the very stage of empathize. Even if you are very sure that you know everything about the problem, but yes, still you need to know your users. You need to design the right solution for them. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. Miriam. And we have other questions. There's a question from Jessica Momodu. She asked, what's the difference between critical thinking and design thinking? And we also have another question. I don't know the name. Is design thinking applicable in all sectors? Can it be used to improve sustainable income and reduce the rate of unemployment?
Okay, so I'll answer the second question first, and then we'll go define the difference between critical thinking and design thinking. Okay, so design thinking is an approach you can apply into different sectors, different different areas of life. Either you're talking about sustainable development goals or you're designing any solution. As I said, it's an approach, it's a method you can apply into any situation, and you can find it out more that, let's say, you can also apply it into your personal life, that okay, I have some problem. Let's see, I am the user, right? I have a problem to commute to my school or college. Now I'm the user, I know my pain point is to walk 10 minutes, get to the bus. Now I can apply it on myself. I can define my problem, and then I can ideate that how can I solve this. Maybe I can carpool with my neighbor. Maybe I can have a cycle or something. So, you can apply it in any area of life wherever you want. The steps will remain same. The users can change. The problem statement can change. The space will change, but the steps will remain same. You have to empathize with the user. You define a problem. Then you have the set of list of solutions, and then you prototype and test that if the solution is working or not. Okay. Now the second question, what is the difference between design thinking and critical thinking? As I said, design thinking is a method or approach to solve any problem. It's a very specific term that has been used in the innovation industry, or you can say business sector, to solve any problem. Okay, critical thinking is a skill set. It's a skill set like communication, or you can say it's a skill set like I'm giving presentation. It's a name of this skill set, right? Critical thinking is how your brain works. How do you define things critically? You reason them. But design thinking is a defined approach or method, like different methods. We have different methods when we solve problems. We have Scrum boards, we have Kanban boards. So it's kind of a tool, you can say. Design thinking is really a tool that has been used to define some problem or solve some problem. Critical thinking is just the ability or skill set, you can say. So there's a difference. It's very different, both of things, right?
All right, that's a wonderful one. Thank you, Dr. Miriam. I don't know if we still have any questions from our participants that are joining on Zoom. Do we have? Is anyone having a question? I will appreciate you signify by raising your hand.
I think there's a last question, and then we can.
Yes, absolutely. Already 10. Thank you. Really appreciate, man. Okay, please, I would just want to ask, okay, we have a question from Adeniji from Kano State. All right, please, can you unmute your mic and ask your question in 30 seconds, please?
Good morning, ma. My question is, how do we test an app that maybe it is for a project and we have not gotten the fund to execute the project? So how do we test the app?
Okay, so for testing an app, you have dummy users, and there are different tools that you can try out online, and you can check that how accurate your app is responding. But in this case, you can only have the functionality of the app tested, not the user feedback you will get, because you are not testing it with the users. So for this, you have usability testing tools online. You have different accuracy testing. You can measure the time your application is responding, the features itself, but you cannot really test it without having users. So it's needed, because only users can tell you that how applicable is the solution and is it working or not. So you can only test the technical part of your application online. You cannot really test it with the users. So yeah, that's the answer. And I think, please, how do we test an app that's meant to be used?
The very last question from Emmanuel, River State. Emmanuel, please kindly unmute your mic and ask your question. And that will be the last question for the first session today. While we move to the second.
Okay, thank you, Ma. I really want to know, how do we detect errors in the process of testing an app that we build? How do we detect errors, and then how do you correct it? to ensure that we achieve what we intend to achieve?
Okay, so there are different methods for any app that you design, and this is the technical part. Okay, there are many tests. There are defined and proven tests for any application that you design, and you can really measure it from through. There are different apps, there are different systems that you can apply if you are designing any specific applications, and I cannot get into details or name anything, but you can search it about functionality. It's called functionality test, usability test, and accuracy test. And for any application, you can put it through. These tests have different kind of tools that you can really apply for your application, and it measures that how accurate is the app, what is the feedback time, how much time is it taking, what are the bugs in your application, what are the features that's responding, what's the response time, what's the screen time. So there are different measures and indicators, and there are different tools for every app that you design. So you can find it easily online. There are different usability testing methods, accuracy testing methods for any app that you're designing.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Miriam. It's been a wonderful time, a wonderful and impactful session with you this morning, afternoon from your end, though. Really appreciate the session. And on behalf of the Leadership Council of Sustainable Development Solutions Network Nigeria, we really want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time and every resources to be part of this masterclass session. We can say that it's been a wonderful time with you indeed. And before you go, I just want to seek on behalf of our advocates, would like to further connect with you, and some would like to have you as a mentor and get to learn with you. Which of the platform is more preferable to you? Is it maybe LinkedIn, via email, or I don't know, maybe you raise your phone number out, but I just want to confirm that.
Sure. Thank you for the session. It was really interactive, and I'd really enjoyed how you interacted, and I'd really like to mentor. Why not? You have my LinkedIn, you have my email address, you can always approach, and we can always connect on phone as well. I'll drop my number on LinkedIn as well. And of course, we can take it forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Miriam.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day. Thank you everyone for participating.
Have a wonderful day and weekend ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye and good day.
Yeah. All right, dear participants joining across the nation, we are glad to end the first session for today. And actually, we'll be having two sessions. The first session was on design thinking and innovation process. And the second section is basically on the SDGs, the 2030 agenda for the Sustainable Development Goals. And that will be led by a renowned person, and she's part of the leadership of SGSN. Yeah, in person of Dr. Erifeta Georgina. She is also the current HOD of Biochemistry Department, Igbineda University. Good morning, Doctor. We are glad to have you on this session today.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, ma'am.
Oh, good. I wanted to be, I'm glad that the audio is good. I was testing it before you called me on. Let me quickly correct. I'm not the head of department of biochemistry, Igbineda University. I'm just the sub-dean for the School of Basic Medical Sciences. Yes.
Awesome. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so you can start the session, Ma. I just had to give a short introduction about you, and we have the session for the next 1 hour, and we also attend to questions and answer once we are done. And please, the attendance link is going to be shared after this session, and we're also going to have some discussion after the session. After the second session, we are going to have some extensive discussion to attend to our questions, our queries, our complaints, and everything. And please endeavor to use the comment section to ask your question and maybe any other comment you want to drop. All right, over to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. I'm just trying to share my slides, so let me just get to it.
All right, that's fine.
Please, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can see the entire screen. The slide is not yet up, but we advise you stop sharing and share once the slide is up now.
Okay. Is it up now?
Not yet. Please kindly stop sharing and start again so that the new one can come up. It's not up yet.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, awesome. We have it now.
Okay, great. So what do you intend to do? You want to share from your end?
No, you can run it from your end, but please you can put it on a full screen so that we can see it.
Okay, it's fine now.
Yes, it's okay now. Perfect.
Okay, great. So good morning, everyone. Emmanuel, to be sure that to be sure that you are not the only one I'm talking with. I don't know if by show of hands,
all right,
virtual hands, we can show our hands, yes, and maybe make some little noise in the chat room, and just say yes, we are here, and so that we can just keep moving.
So, but Doctor,
I'm trying. I don't know. Do you want me to? Because I'm trying to be sure that I'm not going to have problem with my network. That's what I shut down the video, but I don't know because
It's fine. You can just work with the slides and your audio.
Maybe when we get to the Q&A session, then I can put on my slide, my video.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And
yes,
also,
I'm using my phone. In fact, let me quickly deactivate my
okay.
So that we're not going to have any kind of interruption. So thank you so much. Like I said, Emmanuel has already said, I'm Dr. Erifeta. I am also the director for Benin City Wind on America. Emmanuel, please, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So Benin City Wind on America is an initiative of the US government and is youth-centered. So I will request that if any of you get to come to Benin, you could visit the space to use the resources that are in there. It's in partnership with Nigerian University, but it's fully funded by the US government. It's just a small space for skill acquisition, self-study, and where you can actually incubate your ideas and have them birth. So I want to quickly appreciate the conveners of this meeting. Emmanuel, Femi, thank you for having me here. Thank you for the privilege. The time was short, but I'm glad that I'm here today. And I also want to appreciate the director of SDSN, Professor Labode, and the co-director. So thank you so much. The topic we are looking at today, is sorry, please. It's the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development with major focus on the 17 goals, the targets, indicators, and the pillars of the SDGs. The focus for the summit is to raise advocates towards the achievement or the acceleration of the SDGs. It's raining here. I hope that the sound is not being disrupted.
Yeah, it's very perfect and audible, man. You can.
Okay, great. So the focus is on the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs, and the International Treaty on Climate Change under the Paris Agreement. That's why we are here. I don't know why my screen is not moving. Come in, let me just say. Emmanuel, I think I'm having difficulties moving my slides, but I will just see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the rain has become so heavy, and everything is just echoing. But I don't know if I'm still good.
You are okay. Regarding your slide, please, you can just push it to me. Let me have it. Then the technical team can take it up from here. So while you continue with your presentation without...
Okay, you want me to send it to the chat? You want me to send it to chat? How do I send it to you?
Okay, you can just push it to me on WhatsApp, then I'll pick it up from there. But we can hear your audio is okay. Your audio is very okay.
Okay, okay. So looking at the 2030 agenda, I would like to run down history lane to focus on how we came about the 2030 agenda and the SDGs. I would like to say that the SDGs were an amalgamation of the Agenda 21 and the MDGs. SDGs, as we all know, they are global goals that are supposed to meet global interests and all global forms of needs. It's actually bringing the whole world into a community where we could work together to attain common goals. It was adopted in September 2015 when all United Nations member countries, about 193 of them, agreed in Paris to sign the treaty and adopt the SDGs as a working framework or a framework for driving the needs of individual member countries. So like I said it was gotten from the Agenda 21 and the MDGs. Agenda 21 was environment focus, while the MDGs were human focus. And putting those two very important framework together led to the we like to say synthesis, if I want to use the scientific word, or the birth of the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals are about 17 of them. We're already very familiar with them, so I'm just going to run through it. This is part of the objective for this presentation. The first Sustainable Development Goal is no poverty. And I would like to say that the aim for this goal, or the objective for this goal, was to ensure that poverty is ended by 2030. In fact, that is why it is called the 2030 agenda. All these goals are aimed, the objective is to ensure that they are actualized by 2020. So it's to end poverty and ensure that extreme poverty was totally eradicated. That's the first goal, no poverty, to end poverty and ensure that extreme poverty was totally eradicated in the globe, not just in any particular country, because the actualization of this goal in one country must rub off on all countries. That is the most important thing about the SDGs, because they brought everybody together, ensuring that inequalities are totally closed. The MDGs at the time was targeted at developing world. Yeah, it was good. A lot of interventions came on board, and very highly indebted countries were helped to cancel their debt and all that. The Agenda 21 was environment focused, but putting all of them together gave us an integrated and universal goals that everybody could run with without leaving any country behind. So no country can claim to fully attain or achieve the SDGs when another country is lagging behind. What was important was that we leave no country behind, we leave no one behind, because it was an inclusive agenda carrying everybody along. Goal 2, which is zero hunger, is targeted towards ending hunger, achieving food security, which is the major problem we are having now. I don't have scientific data to back that. I wanted to say that, especially in Nigeria, I can't say that, but that's part of the problem we're having now because of the heightened insecurity. So it is to ensure we achieve food security, ensure we end hunger by 2030, ensure we improve in nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Goal 3, good health and well-being, is targeted to ensure by 2030 that we have healthy lives and promote well-being for all and all ages, regardless of age, regardless of sex, regardless of races, and regardless of ethnicity, ensuring that we attain good health for everyone around the globe. Goal 4 is targeted at ensuring an inclusive and equitable quality education. I would like to say that quality education for me should be targeted towards critical thinking, not just the classroom impact, but ensuring that whatever impact that is made is taken beyond the classroom to become innovative, to become initiators of ideas, and changing the status quo in our environment positively, affecting our immediate environment and affecting the community, and possibly running into affecting the country positively. So that's what education is all about. That's what education is all about. If education is not inclusive and is not going to lead to critical thinking, I don't think it's really serving the purpose. It must lead to critical thinking. So it must, the education that we're talking, quality education we're talking about, means education being inclusive and equitable, and we've been able to bring quality education to everyone, leaving no one behind also in that goal. So in the cities, we might be achieving that relatively if we measure the parameters, but what is happening in the villages, and that is also important. And goal 5 borders on gender equality. And that's having an equitable life for all women and girls, and ensuring the women and girls are not left behind in all facets of policy making and professionalism. Goal 6 is clean water and sanitation, is to ensure that by 2030, there is clean water for all. You know, there's this adage that says water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. That is like a scenario that is painted in the Niger Delta, where we have intense pollution. There is water, but the water is not clean enough to drink. So the target for goal 6 is to ensure clean water, accessibility to clean water and clean energy. And that thereby reducing degradation of the environment. Femi, please, am I audible? I'm seeing that internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are back now. You are back now. It's fine.
Oh, you lost me at some point.
Just like 5 seconds or thereabouts, but it's okay now.
So I was on goal 7, right? And I was talking about affordable and clean energy.
Yes.
Okay, so I said it borders on ensuring that there's increase in production of renewable energy, ensuring that waste generated is managed to the extent where waste can be recycled. There is reduction in the use of natural resources and reduction in the use of fossil fuels, increasing production of renewable energy, thereby ensuring a clean environment. So that's the focus of goal 7, affordable and clean energy by 2030. Goal 8 borders on decent work and economic growth. That's increasing job availability, reducing joblessness, and ensuring that everyone has a decent job and there's economic growth in individual countries. Goal 9 has to do with ensuring industry innovation and infrastructural development by 2020. It is built on, we must have industries that are resilient, infrastructures that are sustainable, and promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. And of course, that is going to drive the economic growth of the countries or around the globe. Goal 10 is ensuring reducing inequality by 2030, and that's bridging the gap between the poor and the rich, not minding the sex or the ethnicity, and also closing the gap between rich and poor countries. Yes, aside from closing the gap on closing the gap between the rich and the poor people, it also intends on ensuring that the gap between the rich countries and the poor countries are closed up. And that's part of the reason why those two frameworks were integrated together to have the SDGs, not having some goals centered on developing countries or some centered on already developed countries, but having the SDGs centering on everyone, leaving no one behind, ensuring that the whole globe is running with the goals towards its actualization. Goal 11 is on sustainable cities and communities. Sustainable cities and communities is to make sure cities and humans and settlements are safe and resilient and sustainable. That is the goal for goal 11, is to ensure that cities are sustainable. With the recent migration to the cities and increased problems bordering on waste management, it is important that cities are planned to be sustainable and all these gaps are closed up. Goal 12 is to ensure responsible consumption and production. Responsible production centers on countries ensuring that there's reduction in the use of natural resources again, yes, and increasing the ability or capacity of all countries to recycle products, ensure responsible consumption, and reduce environmental degradation. So it's planet focus and human focus. Goal 13 that we are very familiar with is the climate change, in ensuring that the carbon prints are reduced and ensuring that there's reduction in greenhouse gas, ensuring that there's reduction in the use of fossil fuels, ensuring that there's increased use of renewable energy, thereby mitigating issues bordering on climate change. So 13 is climate action, ensuring that all countries work towards taking action on climate change for the need of the present generation and the need of the future generation, ensuring that the environment is safe for us and safe for the future generation. Goal 14 is life below water, ensuring that all life below water are safe, ensuring that there's increase in oxygen release or oxygen concentration in water bodies and in seas, ensuring biodiversity are preserved in our seas and in our water bodies, just ensuring that by 2030, the life below water is sustainable. Goal 15 is on life on land. That's ensuring biodiversity on land, ensuring that all governments enact policies to cut down on deforestation, increase afforestation, and make life on land sustainable. Goal 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. Peace, justice, and strong institutions is to ensure that there is a peaceful coexistence between communities, between countries, amongst countries, to foster strong institutions that will lead to the attainment of all other goals that we are mentioned. And finally, the 17th goal is on partnership for the goals. The target is to ensure that by 2030, that no country is working in silos, that all countries partner together before 2030 to achieve these common global goals. Partnership for the goals is centered on leaving no country behind again, ensuring there is strong partnership towards delivering on the goals. I just wanted to be very brief on explaining these 17 SDGs before we go into other things, because I know that we already have some good understanding about what the SDGs represent, but I had to do that because yesterday I gave somebody a ride, and surprisingly, I was surprised. The person is a master's holder, and I was telling him about the presentation today. I thought that I was not, we're not communicating. So I had to ask him if he knows anything about the SDGs. I was surprised when he said he was hearing about the SDGs for the first time. So I think this summit is very apt to raise advocates, to increase advocacy towards domesticating SDGs in Nigeria, thereby accelerating the achievement or the attainment of the goals. So I think it's very key. So my next slide is actually to help get your mindset on what you think about the SDGs. I'm trying to move it again. Okay, this is it now. But I will just stop sharing and go to my screen so that I can go straight to the poll. Femi, I think I would have given you these slides, but let me go straight to. Can you see my slides? Hello, Femi. Emmanuel? Emmanuel?
We can't see your slide. We can't see.
We can't see your slide, ma.
Okay, you are not seeing the slides.
We can, ma. We can, ma.
Okay, you can see it. So there's a Mentimeter poll on my screen. Are you seeing it?
American Spaces, your slide is up.
No. It's not on it again. It's not on it again.
Okay, what I wanted to do was to engage you on Mentimeter to
scan that, right?
Appraise your mindset. No, appraise your mindset on the UN Sustainable Goals. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to find out, the question is, who is responsible for the attainment of the UN Sustainable Goals? Is it government? Is it CSOs, private sectors, youths? That's the second set of people. The first set, is it government? The second one is it the people, the CSOs, or the private sector? And finally, the last one, is it achievable by all? I don't know. Let me try again and see.
Okay, ma. All right.
So that's the question. I think you should brainstorm on it. Who do you think should be responsible for the attainment of the SDGs? Should it be the government? Is it the government that should be responsible for the attainment and driving the achievement of SDGs in Nigeria? Should it be the youth or the CSOs? I'm already seeing a response. Somebody is saying everyone. Should it be CSOs and should it be everyone? That's the third question. Should it be everyone? Okay, yes. Another person says everyone. Can you see the poll now? Can we see the poll, please? Can we see the Mentimeter?
We can see it now. We can see it.
Can you just quickly vote so that we can have the statistics, please?
Okay, is it possible? I saw the barcode on your slides earlier. Is that the access? Okay, please.
Yes, that is it. So should I go back to share the slides, or you want to do it from here? Okay, you want to do it individually? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let me go share my. Let me end this one. Okay. So did anybody say that government should be responsible for the attainment of the SDGs?
Businesses, NGO, government, etc. That's the third slide.
Yes, I'm trying to put it on. Okay, that's where we are now. There you go. So who should be responsible? By way of show of hands, can I get some engagements in the room, please? Who should be responsible and why? You have seen that the SDGs are laudable goals. They are important goals. To me, if any country should pursue the attainment of the SDGs, then you'd have practically solved all the problems, because they are all problems you can pinpoint are all integrated into the SDGs. They are all encompassing. They are all integrated into the SDGs. So it is high time we begin to domesticate the attainment of SDGs, and what we are doing now, raising advocates to help the domestication of this goal, is very key. Is very key. Emmanuel, you are a host, so I don't know if there's anyone that is ready to speak.
Okay,
so that we can quickly get some engagement.
From Kano State, Adeniji from Kano State, please kindly unmute your mic. I've said if there's anyone on this platform and you've not renamed your profile, your display name, you are not going to be recognized. Go and do that first. I can see Obudu Farms. Go and rename your profile, please. All right, Adeniji from Kano State, please kindly unmute your mic and speak.
Good morning, ma. Thanks for the lecture. To me, I think everyone should be responsible. The government, the citizens, the private individuals, because the government cannot do it alone. There are some places the government may not be able to reach, maybe due to time factors. Individuals can do that, and there are some places too that maybe the individuals cannot reach. Then the private companies or organizations, NGOs, they can be able to take a good action on that. So even the government, they also need help too. So it is everybody included. It can't be the government alone, or maybe the NGOs. It has to be everybody's responsibility. Everybody should be involved. Everybody should be carried along. So that's how I think we can be able to achieve the SDGs. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's great.
We have
Kelvin.
Yes, we have like 3 more people. We have Kelvin from Ogun State.
Okay,
can you in less than a minute, please just share your thoughts.
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma. My own view is not different from the other speaker. I also think it's a multi-sectoral action is needed in order to attain the SDGs, because as even from the individual perspective. Starting from the individuals, we all have responsibility in attaining each of those goals. And then it now goes up from individual to institutions, either private or public, and to also the government in trying to achieve that. So I think it's a collective responsibility where all stakeholders need to come together in order to achieve that. Thank you, ma'am.
Beautiful, beautiful. Are we having another side to this?
Looking at
I hope we all participated in the poll.
We have Elizabeth from Lagos. Kindly unmute your mic. So I've shared the link for the poll. Those of us on YouTube, we have a lot of audience on YouTube that are joining from YouTube. Please, the link are added. So that's where our main audience are. Those are on Zoom are just the state representatives for each of the states. The major audience are on YouTube. So please, those of us on YouTube, let's use the link. And also I've sent it on the coordinators page on WhatsApp. So please kindly share it.
Yes, up until now, I'm seeing 100% on achievable by all. I'm not seeing any other opinion.
So let's go.
100%.
Yes, yeah, awesome. I want a female man to also speak.
Yes, that would be good.
So
I'm seeing 100% on the poll. The poll says 100% on the achievable by all.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Georgina. The SDG, the motto says leaving no one behind. So it should be all inclusive. It should be inclusive. That's the way we can actually get to attain the SDGs. Because if it is just if it is excluded, like if individuals are excluded, that means it's going to be more difficult for the government to be able to achieve these goals. But if everybody comes to the knowledge of knowing what the SDG is all about, then it is easier to come to attain the goals. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, so I agree with all of you. I totally agree with all of you. I just wanted to be sure that we are all on the same page. On the attainment and the driving of SDGs, everyone is important. Everyone needs to make an input. And there is something everybody can do. You do not need to be an activist. You do not need to be a professional. In your own little space, there's something we can all do, whether you be an environmentalist or a professional or an activist or a student, something we can all do. And that's why SDSN Youth is coming up with this great intervention to drive the attainment of these goals by raising more advocates that will be ready to talk about the SDGs to everyone. Let me quickly highlight on Agenda 21 so that we'll know that these two frameworks that we amalgamated to arrive at the SDGs were also very important frameworks that were poised towards solving human and problems bordering on the environment, and merging them together gave us a better framework that could actually solve the world's problem or the problem across the globe. So the Agenda 2021 was it was actually named 21 because it was adopted in 1992. And the achievement was supposed to be by 2020, by 2000. So it was like a 21st century agenda. That's why it was named 21. It was meant to be executed at local, national, and global levels. And sincerely, when that agenda was adopted, countries agreed that they were going to go back and create and carve out their own Agenda 21 and run with them in their specific countries and ensure their actualization. It was meant to be a non-binding, voluntarily adopted action plan, and it was not a treaty, unlike the SDGs that is formally binding, legally binding, and we all signed, and Nigeria signed, so we cannot afford to be left behind. The Agenda 21, I believe was not achieved because of the limitations I highlighted here. But I want to say that the targets that were deduced for the actualization of this agenda were like 21 of them, and were now broken into these 4 sessions that are on my slides. But this agenda came up with limitations that were born out of increased globalization, widening of inequalities between countries, because some countries were driving the attainment of the Agenda 21, while some countries hardly could not do anything about it because of glaring inequalities. And there was decrease in, there was increased deterioration in the environment. So those were the glaring limitations that the Agenda 21 was faced with. But the goals, Agenda 21 goals, were good goals that were achievable. Like I said, some countries fared very well in them, while some countries did not fare well. The Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs, were established in 2020. You know, I said the Agenda 21 was supposed to be achieved by 2000. So by that 2000, another framework was adopted, which is the Millennium Development Goals, which were like 8 goals, as you can see on my screen. And major interventions were taken by global leaders to achieve these Millennium Development Goals. And part of the interventions were cancellation of debt for heavily indebted countries. You may ask, was Nigeria part of it? No, Nigeria is not an heavily indebted country, poor country. Nigeria was not part of that intervention. But of course, Nigeria enjoyed some level of interventions because of the Millennium Development Goals. They had, the Millennium Development Goals had like 21 targets, but the goals were primarily 8 of them, as shown in my screen, ran across eradicating poverty and hunger. It was also to promote gender equality and empower women in the society. It was to reduce child mortality, and it was to develop a global partnership for development. In fact, the Millennium Development Goals were centered on 3 pillars, the 3 Ps, people, planet, and prosperity, people, planet, and prosperity. And it means it was people focused, it was planet focused, but it was geared towards ensuring the prosperity of all member countries that were involved in its adoption. So the 2030 agenda for SDGs, I can say that it's a totally inclusive framework that was geared towards solving the world's problems. It is centered on meeting the social and environment needs of our generation, yes, primarily for our generation, but ensuring that we're not compromising on the needs of the future generation. And that is very key. That's very key. Ensuring the environmental needs, ensuring the social needs of this present generation, but ensuring that we're not compromising on the needs of the future generation through environmental degradation, through all practices that might have a negative runoff on the environment and affect the need of the future generation. So the 2030 agenda, as we have seen, has 17 goals, laced with about 169 targets, but 230, in fact, 230 plus, not just 230, 230 plus indicators for measuring progress. And you agree with me that if we have to go through these 169 targets, it means we're not going to be able to live here in a record time. So I tried to summarize these 169 targets into these 4 subsections. I decided to put it into, I think it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 summarized targets to highlight the 169 targets that were raised from the 17 goals that were adopted in Paris, and that we all agreed, that all member countries agreed to be achieved by 2030. The first one is to secure the world that is free of poverty and hunger. that is people-centered, to secure a world that is free of poverty and hunger. And the second one is to ensure full and productive employment for everyone, decent jobs, decent employment for everyone. The third one is to ensure there's access to quality education and universal health coverage for everyone by 2030. The fourth one is to ensure gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls by 2020. And the last summary from the goals is to end environmental degradation and deterioration by 2030. I would like to say that to measure the 17 goals and the 69 targets, it is important, it was important that they coined the 5 Ps. They coined the 5 Ps from the 3 that were already coined from the Millennium Development Goals. We already had people, planet, and prosperity. People-centered goals, meaning that policies enacted and goals taken must be people-centered, they must be planet-centered, they must drive prosperity of all countries, and the other 2 were added, which is peace and partnership, must ensure peaceful coexistence between countries and their communities and individuals, and we must ensure partnership between communities and amongst countries. Yes, I would like to say that for about 2 years now, we have entered the decade of action to drive the attainment of the SDGs. Decade of action because we are right now in the last 10 years towards the 2030 target that was set. The target is leave no one behind. I was saying something earlier on. I said that if a particular country like the United States is achieving or attaining the SDGs, and there's any country under the globe that is lagging behind, it is impossible for the United Nations to say that globally the SDGs were attained. That is what makes this SDGs very interesting and very, very, very highly inclusive, meaning every country must look out for another country. So looking at the highlights of these SDGs, I can say categorically that all the 17 goals and the 169 targets and the 230 indicators are integrated. They are all integrated to ensure that we deliver on the goals. Every country must look out for every country. All countries must look out for each other to ensure that SDGs are delivered. Africa cannot be left behind. If they leave us behind, then it is impossible for a global decision to be taken that SDGs were achieved. But that does not mean that Africa should not play their part towards the achievement and the attainment or accelerating the delivery on SDGs. We all have to be involved. I don't believe in leaving our responsibilities to other countries to come and do for us. I believe in us putting our hands together to try to solve our indigenous problems. I once posted somewhere, I said only Nigeria can help Nigerians. So if we sit behind and wait for the global powers to come and help deliver Africa, deliver the region of Africa or deliver Nigeria, then we must be joking. We must rise up, we must brace up, we must do what we are doing now to advocate for the achievement of SDGs, to ensure that everyone is running with the goals. In your little space, there's something to do. All the goals are integrated. The SDGs have brought the whole globe into a small community where everyone is important. Number 2, I said that the goals are universal. Yes, they are universal because all member countries, 193 member countries, including Nigeria, they were not made. They actually adopted the actualization of the goals. They signed the achievement of the goals, and so we must run with it. So it is universal. Everyone, imagine having 193 member countries sign a particular document that is legally binding. That was a great feat. So SDGs are integrated, SDGs are universal, SDGs are inclusive. I saw a survey that said that over 5 million people actually came together to put the SDGs together and signed them. so 5 million people from 193 countries signed the SDGs. So we can see how important the SDGs are, and the achievement and actualization is binding on us. Aside from having them binding on us by law, looking at them critically and what they represent, you can see that there's the solutions that the world has been looking for, and it is high time we begin to drive it. The fourth one is leaving no one behind, and that is what we have been crying. That's what we have been shouting with. Every country, each country must help all countries, especially the vulnerable countries, achieve the SDGs by all means. There's a caption I have here. I said, everyone wants to change, but nobody wants to change. Everyone wants the world to change. I think there's a mix up here. Everyone wants a change. Yes, it's correct. Everyone wants a change, but nobody wants to change. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. And that quote was done by Mahatma Gandhi. Everyone wants a change, but nobody wants to change. What do you have to change within to help drive the attainment of SDGs? As a youth, as a Nigerian youth, what do you need to do? You need to think critically. You need to look within and see what you have to do. There are little things to do. Even for somebody that is staying in one room, just deciding to continuously use the LED bulbs is a word intervention from your own.
Hello, doctor. Hello.
Helping to cut down, that's a good intervention. What can you do as achievement and attainment of this goal of the SDGs? What can you do? I'm telling you now that there's something you can do. There's something. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be major. Some few years ago, I said this in one of the meetings in the past. In the community where I work, we have this artisanal oil palm refining or milling for producing palm oil. And you have so many of them. What they do is that as soon as the space is totally grounded with waste and they have degenerated or degraded the environment, they move to the next location. And that's because they do not have the resources or the scientific know-how to manage that waste. So I started
Hello, ma. Your network. Okay.
In the and Indonesia, that resides over 98%. So that could be used by farmers and it increase the economy of the farmers and increase the economic value of this agricultural waste. So that's what I'm talking about. But I'm not talking about major projects like that. I'm just talking about little things that you think you can do. So with the code on the screen, I want us to participate in this current poll. And please, we need to collect this data. I need to know what you can do in your little space as an individual, because we're talking about leaving no one behind. What can you do in your little space to drive the achievement or the attainment of the SDGs, or to help in accelerating the SDGs? SDGs Youth is doing their own now, trying to increase awareness, sensitize the youths, and see how these goals can be domesticated amongst you, and you can be the apostle or the advocates to help further domesticate the SDGs in your environment. So I don't know if anyone is already there. I want you to copy the link and tell us what you can do. Let me go to the Mentimeter poll and see what is happening. And if you want to make a little contribution, please, we are here to have you engage with us. Thank you. Femi, are you still there?
Yes, absolutely. We are with you. And please, I would appreciate you recap on that task which you've just given, Ma, so that those who are on YouTube, at some point, I'm not sure they were able to get what you asked them to do clearly, but I got the question. So, but the polling link is still, I think it's still the same as the first one we are using, right?
Okay, I think, okay, let me try to check it up. Okay. What input? Okay, this I'm trying to.
You can leave the slide on so that we can get to pick it up from there and copy it for those who are participating virtually.
Okay, I should leave the slide on. I already have the Mentimeter on the screen.
Okay. Okay. Now.
Are you seeing it from your end?
Not yet. Not yet, ma'am.
Okay, but did you get the code?
Yes, in as much as it's the same as the first one we used, we already have the code.
No, I don't think it's the same. It's different. I had to present this
can
one.
Can it so that I can confirm and reshare it with the.
Okay, there you go. Are you seeing it?
All right, it's the same one. So I'm going to copy.
Okay, same one. Okay. Okay, I think it's poll 2, the same, but poll 2, yes.
All right, please kindly engage on that. I've dropped the poll.
So what can you as an individual do to accelerate the achievement of the SDGs, to drive the acceleration of SDGs achievement? What can you as an individual do? I want somebody to engage virtually with us. If there's anybody that is ready to talk, what can you do? I'm not talking about mega projects. Little things you can do. Everyone can do something towards driving the attainment of the SDGs, of the Sustainable Development Goals. Everyone can do something. What can you do?
Okay, so
Gandhi said we should.
Those of us on Zoom, you can kindly signify by raising your hand why we recognize you to talk. Okay, I have Adeniji from Kano State. You can unmute your mic and speak.
What I think I can do is, like in my environment now, some of these homeless boys, they are always maybe urinating around everywhere. So I think if I can gather them, or maybe find somebody that can talk to them, that is better they have a particular toilet they will be using instead of them urinating everywhere. It will be affecting the ecosystem. And also telling people about the SDGs and looking for maybe projects I can execute in my community too, to raise more awareness about the SDGs agenda for 2030.
Okay. In fact, I want to clap for you, because you are not coming with limitations. You are coming with what you can do immediately towards domesticating the SDGs and driving its attainment, which is very key, which is very important. Do you understand? I don't want us to highlight problems. I know we have an unending list of problems in Nigeria right now, but let's look beyond the problems and focus on the solution. What can we do? What can we do? And the last speaker, please, I want you to drive this initiative, drive it as little as possible, and with time, you begin to gain the necessary or the required momentum, do you understand, to drive it full scale.
So we have, yes, I can hear you. We can hear you. That's the last speaker, please. That's just an advice that you can win more on this. So he has responded using the comment section. We also have Mohammed from Bauchi State. Mohammed, you can unmute your mic and let's hear you. Why Adamu from Gombe State can also speak after. Please, just in 30 seconds.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello,
we can hear you.
Okay, good morning once again. Actually, what I can contribute as an individual toward the achievement of the SDGs.
SDGs.
2030 SDGs goal. Like me in my own community, I'm a football player. We used to go for training. At that point, I can use that time, I can use that chance so that I can enlighten the players that went out for training, like morning football. I will enlighten them about the agendas of the SDGs 2030. That's
Great.
my contribution.
Great. That's great. Please, so ensure you run with it. Ensure we run with it. You do all the attendees and participants. I will encourage us to do a list of the things we can do as individuals in our little spaces, in our environment, in our communities to drive the attainment of the SDGs in Nigeria. It's important that as youths, we lend our voices towards the attainment of these SDGs. They are extremely important, inclusive goals that will help us change the narratives and change the status quo in this country. So please write them out and begin to run with them as minimal as possible. Say little drops of water makes an ocean. I'm seeing some contributions in the Mentimeter poll. Somebody said that I would do that by creating awareness on SDG around me towards domestication. Please ensure to start that today. Another person says that the input I can make is by carrying out projects in my community and also making people more aware of the SDGs and what can be done to achieve them. Yes, that's a community-based project. And if you want to do a community-based project, it's important that you engage with communities, look for people that will help you bet your visions, talk with the community leaders, start as small to create awareness and sensitization, but talk with the community leaders so that you can have a buy-in. Let them understand what these goals represent and how their partnership is important towards the delivering of these goals. Another person says it's an all-inclusive effort from individual motivation, government policies, and the merging of implementation, advocacy and awareness. Okay, yes, advocacy and awareness, that's good. Another person says, I will create awareness and get my family involved. Wow, that is how to do it. That is how to do it. First, start the change from your immediate space. Start the change from your immediate space. That's okay. That's okay. That's great. I will take one SDG and work on it. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Even as researchers, even as professionals, it's impossible to run with all the SDGs. So if you actually want to create a niche for yourself, you can choose one of the SDGs that you think you will be able to bet deliverables as fast as possible and begin to run with it and see what you can do out of it. And you'll be able to measure your impact in a record time. That's great. Attending the contributions are many. Wow, that's great. Attending the SDGs requires a Emmanuel, please, how much time more do I have?
Just
requires
10 minutes.
Wow. Okay, maybe I will just send this assessment report to you later so that you see the contributions from our youths. They are really worthy. By collaborating with like minds who are change agents, putting in serious efforts in targeting the areas of concern, yes, in our environment. Yes. Okay, I wanted to see if there was anyone highlighting problems. I'm happy I'm not seeing anyone. Enlightening local farmers about vertical farming and teaching them how to go about it. Yes, if you have the information about that, if you are informed about that, you can use that information to transform the lives and the production capacity of the farmers around you. Yes, you can do that and try to increase sustainability in the farming in your environment. That's all so wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. So there's something we can all do. There's something we can all do to ensure that the SDGs are achieved or attained in our individual space. All we need to do is look within and run with the goals. Run with the goals. Okay, let me okay, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can see it, ma'am.
Okay, I said before that we have 5 pillars, right? 5, we are able to measure the achievement of the goals using the 5 Ps. But there are 3 major SDG pillars that are centered, that the 17 SDGs are centered on, and that's social, economic, and environmental. The 17 SDGs are centered on 3 pillars. 3 pillars with those 5 indicator factors: the people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. And the pillars are the social, the economic, and the environmental aspects. On the social aspect, it is centered on fighting poverty. It is people-centered. It is to ensure social justice, to ensure peace and coexistence, to promote diversity, ensure quality living, ensure access to healthcare. It doesn't matter where we are found on the planet. Ensure quality education, ensure community development, cultural heritage, and some aspects of religion. So it's a people-centered pillar. The second one is the economic pillar, and is centered on the ability of companies to contribute to economic development and growth. Then it's also centered on supporting the environment to ensure its protection, limiting the risks that is posed by their production, by the production from companies and industries, and ensuring recycling of products and the use of renewable energy. And all this is poised towards reducing the carbon emission, ensuring proper management or reduction in greenhouse gas, and directly mitigating on climate change. Ensuring the industries are not increasing environmental degradation that will have effects on our present, on the present sustainability of lands and the sustainability of lands also for future generation. And the last pillar is on environment, and it's poised towards protecting the environment by reducing the risk and measuring the environmental impact of companies and activities. So I said that the most significant thing about the SDGs is leaving no one behind. That's the most significant thing about the SDGs. Central to the keys is transformative, and all countries must work together in an integrated framework to ensure the delivery of the SDGs is very key. And I would like to just say something very little about climate change. Climate change must be, or climate action must be, the responsibility of everybody. I like all those contributions that were made on the poll participation, that everyone was able to carve out something they could do towards the achievement of the SDGs. We must do everything to mitigate issues concerning climate change. We must do everything we can to reduce gas emission. In fact, an article said that, I read an article that said that if nothing is done about mitigating on climate change, it will get to a point where cities have to relocate because of environmental degradation, and water bodies that will rise, and that is already rising, or that will rise and take over cities. it will get to a point where plants that used to grow in an area can no longer grow because of the impact of climate change. So that is why it is important for us to do everything we can to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. In conclusion, I would like to say that the whole world must be brought together in a community if attainment of the 2030 agenda must be accelerated. And that's why I have this partnership object here, or picture here, that shows that everyone has to put their hands together. All countries have to be interconnected, intertwined in a framework, in a mesh work that would drive the attainment of the SDGs and the 2030 agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals. I think our take home for this summit should be that everybody should decide to be an advocate, rising up from this meeting, an advocate of the SDGs, helping to accelerate the attainment of SDGs, not looking at the government, not highlighting our problems, but focusing on the solution and seeing how we can translate problems into solutions for the good of Nigeria, for the good of individuals, and for the good of our communities, and ensuring that we are accelerating the achievement and the attainment of SDGs. These are the few selected references, and thank you so much for listening.
Wow, 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 this is awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Rifata. It's been a wonderful time, and the ending part is indeed a call to action, and it's high time we just have to accelerate more actions towards achieving the SDGs. Without taking much of our time, we'd like to take just 3 questions, and while we move to the next part, those of us on YouTube, kindly drop your questions using the comment section. While those of us on Zoom, you can signify or use the comment section to drop your question. Whoever that wants to ask a question directly, please just raise your hand while we call on you to ask your question. Okay. Do you have anybody on Zoom that wants to ask a question directly? Kindly raise your hand. Why? Okay, I think we have a question. All right, just hold on, please. A minute. All right, I think it's a comment from Jigawa representative. He said to promote SDGs, just make circular economy be your lifestyle by adopting the 3 R's: reuse, reduce, and refuse. Okay, that's a very good one from our representative from Jigawa. And even beyond the 3 R's, you can still extend to the 10 R's. So, and because, all right, I won't like to go
several hours, we can go there.
But that is a very good feedback from you. And just like Doctor mentioned, all those aspirations which we've mentioned, it's high time we push more on that. Okay, I think we have some hands raised. Just a minute. Okay, I want to start with a female this time around. And I would like to start with, that's Elizabeth from Lagos. Kindly unmute your mic and ask your question.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Georgina. I really enjoyed the class. All right, my question is, due to the COVID-19 and then the current Ukraine-Russia war, there is actually a drawback to attaining the SDG, the 2030 for the SDG. You know, we said want to attain it for 2030, and then there is a drawback. So I don't know if there is a major intervention that needs to be carried out, or there's something that is being planned to actually achieve these drawbacks in order to be able to achieve the 2030 agenda. That's my question.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. The thing is that COVID-19 came with no prior notice to all countries, especially the United Nations member countries that signed and adopted the 2030 agenda. So if the problem affected all the countries, I think what the United Nations is doing now is to maybe at the last summit, I'm not sure if there were major interventions that have been highlighted, but I know that the United Nations have actually not given up on the attainment of these goals come 2030. COVID-19 was a serious drawback towards the achievement of these goals because everything came to a standstill. Do you understand? But, I kept on saying in the course of my presentation that if you want to achieve the SDGs and if you want to join or lend your voice towards accelerating the achievement of these goals, it's important that you focus less on the problems, because if we want to start discussing the problems that were highlighted by COVID-19, it will make the SDGs totally unachievable. Do you understand? But what we have to do now is rise above the challenges that have been presented to us by COVID-19 and see how we can weather the storm and see how we can close up on the gaps in the same way that all other member countries are doing right now. And I think that's why SDSN is coming with this
Hello, doctor.
To increase amongst the youths and see how we. Did you lose me?
Yes. At the point when you're mentioning, you think that's why SDSN is coming up with, then you're up.
Oh, okay. I was saying that highlighting the problems created by COVID-19 definitely will make the attainment of SDGs impossible. Do we understand?
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Most importantly,
yes, ma'am,
looking out for what we can do, the same way all member countries are doing right now, should be the focus. Looking for the problems, translating them into direct solutions towards the achievement and the attainment of SDGs. Maybe from the last summit, United Nations would have come up with more interventions. But for now, what all member countries are doing is focusing on attaining the SDGs. And that's what SDSN is doing now, leading the way, paving the way in this country to increase awareness, increase sensitization, get the youth involved, and see how we can leave no one behind and getting everyone on board to drive the attainment and make our little inputs in our different spaces. So that's what we're doing right now. And I think increasing awareness, I just shared a testimony where somebody that had a master's degree did not even know what the SDGs are. So if we can sensitize the masses enough, sensitize the people enough to make their inputs, no matter how minimal it is, I think it's going to really make a lot of difference, and it's going to accelerate the achievement of these goals in Nigeria. I did not come up with assessing or measuring the impact of how we are fared in the attainment of these SDGs, because that is not my focus for this presentation. My focus is to see how we can domesticate the goals and increase awareness about the goals and look at the targets and the frameworks that have been set and trace them back history lane and highlight their importance to every participant. Do you understand? So I don't have the statistics to measure how we are fared, but what I know is that all member countries right now are doing their very best towards the achievement and the attainment of SDGs, and Nigeria must not be left behind.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much for that wonderful feedback, man. And quickly, I would like to go to the South to take one or two questions. And okay, I think we have Sonny Omeka from Cross River. You can kindly ask your question in 30 seconds, while James from Adamawa also asked his own question. Two of you are going to ask your questions once, and while Doctor will respond to it.
All right. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good morning.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Dr. Georgina. It's been a wonderful session. The thing is, where I come from, or from my experiences, women, I believe in gender equality, but women have always been marginalized, especially in terms of education, right? So I won't mention names. I've gone ahead to, I did some sensitization in Cross River State, and I've gotten some, because I'm an ICT expert, so I discovered that people don't like, teaching their daughters, enrolling them in ICT training. And then we are talking of JAM, we are talking of CBT, computer-based tests and stuff like that. They get to, lag behind when it comes to these things. So I took it upon myself to train some of them. And today they are very good at, the computer. And to further this movement, if, for instance, I must be carried along, because, from my experience, I believe the men are failing us. So we need to, there's no country without a female woman backing it up as well. I believe in the near future, we'll see a situation where, when you come up with a governor, there must be a deputy counterpart who is a female. If there's a president, the vice president must be female.
Okay.
I don't know what, so that's my idea.
Thank you so much for rising up on behalf of the women and the girls.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, that's the target or the objective of gender equality, is to actually close up on all gender inequalities and all forms of gender discrimination. Do you understand? So I think that is already demonstrated in SDSN, because our director is a male and our co-director is a female. So we're looking forward to a future where this discrimination will totally be taken off. But women have to rise up. Women have to rise up on behalf of women. Do you understand? Women have to be the first advocates for women. We can't sit down and want the men to just leave the space for us. We have to go contend for what we really want. So sitting down wanting the position, the policy positions, or the professional positions to be handed over to you on the platter of gold is actually not correct. So we should pay the price, build capacity, and be ready to occupy whatever seat that we are supposed to occupy. In fact, I just launched an NGO that is gender focused, and my desire is to mentor women and help them to brace up, help them to rise up for themselves, and stop doing stop the blaming parade, stop the putting their responsibilities, especially their financial responsibilities, in the hands of other people. I would like to make reference of the Bible, It said male and female created them. So women should be ready to rise up and pay the price, to build capacity, to acquire the necessary skills that will be required for them to take over and ensure that all forms of discrimination is actually removed by 2030. So it is the responsibility of women to rise up as advocates for themselves first, while they will now be supported, will now expect the support to come from the men. If women are not ready to rise up, then there's going to be a problem. Do you understand? Nobody can cry more than the bereaved. The women have to be ready to rise up and say, yes, yes, we can, and actually prove that they can. Do you understand? I was saying somewhere about women leaders that actually prove that women can. Across the globe during COVID-19, it was documented that countries that were led by women fared better than a lot of the countries that were led by men. So that's an example. So Nigerian women should be ready to close this gap of discrimination and rise up to ensure gender equality in Nigeria. That's what I can say. Women must be the first advocates for women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Georgina. And yeah, I love when I hear anything about gender equality, and yeah, it's absolutely great. And even beyond the professional part, because another part which we still find lagging behind is the aspect of domestic and home care. there needs to be a balance. Yeah, there needs to be a balance, which also will help women to be more productive. I think all those who are raising their hand have dropped it. Maybe the questions have been attended to, and we can say that it's indeed an insightful lecture from you. Okay, Kano State Rep, please that will be the last question for today, please. Adeninji, please just ask your question in 30 seconds, please, in 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. My question is, I don't know if we can make the office holders or the people that are seeking the mandate of the people to pick one of the SDGs as part of their manifesto and make them to make sure that they follow it up to the latter.
Okay, I didn't get you properly. Are you saying that we should try to enforce some changes in policy?
What he asked was
yes.
the political stakeholders, the politicians, during their manifesto, like we are preparing for 2023 election, can we mandate them to have one of the SDGs as their major target, which they are also going to set more priorities on?
Yeah, it's a very good idea, but you know that things like that has to be crafted into policy. Do you understand? It's impossible to mandate anyone to run with any of the goals, though they are global goals, but it's only the government that can ensure any kind of policy change and compelling people to run with goals like these that are binding on us legally. Because the goals are binding on us legally, the government has to be the one. We can only advocate for government to buy in and use these goals as a campaign strategy. Do you understand? And it's going to be an extremely laudable campaign strategy. Yes, but you cannot mandate. The word mandate, I have a problem with that word. You cannot mandate politicians to use the SDGs as campaign strategy. You can only advocate for the government to enact policies that will mandate politicians to use the SDGs as campaign policy. And I think if that is done, it's going to actually help domesticate the SDGs and drive its awareness and sensitization in our country, because politics is big deal. Politics is big deal and the goals are bigger deals. So if the government is able to enact policies that will compel politicians to run with any of these goals, meanwhile, the goals that the political parties might be running with definitely will be intertwined inside the SDGs. There's no problem right now that you can actually pinpoint that is not integrated into the SDGs. So it's just for you to look at them closely. But because of awareness, they might not know. Do you understand? If they are properly informed, if you would do the assignment of informing and reinforming them, you'll see that they are going to just buy in very fast. Because aligning your goals and your projects to the SDGs is now like a global agenda. So I think that's what I think. Government has to be the one to enact policies to mandate politicians to run with the SDGs. But if politicians are properly informed, of course, they are going to buy in with pleasure because it becomes a global agenda for them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor, for that. That's the end of today's questions. We will not be entertaining any questions for now, but
I'm seeing one hand up at Damawa. Is that the only hand up? I'm not sure if that's the only hand up.
Question, that's the only hand up, but we might not be able to entertain any other questions.
Okay, because you are going into another session.
Yes, and really appreciate each and every one. We have to, though, I won't say because you are an in-house person, we must not appreciate you. On behalf of the leadership of SDSN, we still really appreciate the time you've committed to be part of today's session. And sincerely, I knew that it came in a very short time, and even still in your very busy schedule, you were able to spare some time and attend today's webinar. Really, really appreciate you, Ma, and definitely we know that for some other times we are going to be inviting you. You are still going to grant our request. And once again, we really, really appreciate you. But before you go, Ma, I would like to confirm if you are okay for us to share your email address or maybe any of your social media.
Yes, please. You can share it. I think you have it, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you can share it, please.
We are going to share.
That's what we represent. That's what we represent. Collaboration. That's what we represent. This is good.
And I think we have a network. We also have a network in Benin. Those of you in that's the Benin network, endeavor to connect with Dr. Georgina, and it's going to be an awesome and blessed moment for you over there. Once again, thank you so much, Ma. We really appreciate the time you spared this morning. You can take your...
Emmanuel, thank you so much. Please, there are so many questions in the chat box. Maybe you should try to attend to them when I'm out. If there are more questions, you can send me emails and I will reply. Please send my email to everyone. Thank you so much to the conveners, the participants. Thank you for the time here. I hope you enjoy the rest part of the day. Thank you.
And you too, Ma. And you too, Ma. Okay, dear participants, I believe it's been a wonderful time this morning, and I believe we all have the attendance form. The attendance form has been released. Okay, just a minute. Please, can you drop the attendance form on the Zoom platform? All right, please, can you drop the attendance form on the Zoom platform for those who are here? Those of us on YouTube, please, the attendance form has been dropped. It's very important you fill the attendance and evaluation form before you leave, while we quickly discuss one or two things. And I must say this with a sincere heart. I really appreciate each and every one for our commitment and being so zealous in on this program. But I would like to correct one or two things. And the first thing I would like to correct is our manners and approach. I believe we are all matured human beings. I believe we are all matured citizens. Even if the least person here is 18 years of age, I believe your communication should, there should be a good sensibility and maturity in the way you communicate with others. Please, let's endeavor to show respect to each other. And you know what? Respect is reciprocal. If 20 years and someone that is 40 years is giving me the adequate respect and being maybe the facilitator or maybe the moderator of this event, definitely I'm going to do 100% and respect the person back. And the same thing is applicable to even the younger generation. Let's endeavor to show that respect, most especially in our communications. It's so sad that even many, I can say 60% of the people on this platform, we don't know how to write a very good official email. It sounds so odd. And I must really, I don't want to take it with a kind of annoyance. I will never do that anyway, because I'm here to serve you. But it's part of the culture you have to learn. It's part of the culture. They are going to share the attendance link, please. And there are things you also have to imbibe being in the development space, being a development advocate. Like someone sent a comment on YouTube this morning, and I'm really surprised that we can have such things transpiring amongst Nigerian youths. Please, let's ensure we fall back to the right norm. We must not just fall out and do things wrongfully. It's very important to respect each other. I won't say anything longer than that because I just want to keep it low. I believe you get the communication clear. And secondly, please, nobody is expected, you are not expected to send any email to nigeria@sdsnyouth.org again. If there is any communication you have, if there is any question you have, please direct it to your state representative. Your state representative is going to take it up, and I'm sure that you've elected responsible and mature state representatives that can provide answers and solutions to your questions. Please communicate everything to your state representatives. And the other part which I quickly want to talk about is still on the state representatives. Out of 36 states, currently we have just 24 state representatives. If your state there are two scenarios to this. One, if you are not in any state group now, you are wrong. If by now you are not in any state group, you are wrong. And secondly, if by now your state group do not have a representative, and the representative is not on the general group for state SDGs state representatives, you guys are wrong. Most especially for each and everyone on that team. And I think there are some states within the southwestern region that do not have a representative yet. Please kindly copy the link on the Zoom link, the attendance link on the Zoom link again, please, admin. And I also want to emphasize on the Telegram page. If you are not on the Telegram page by now, you are wrong. Because right from the first week, even from the commencement of this program, the Telegram link has been sent to you. It's part of your email, and I could remember that those who complained that they didn't receive the link was not functioning well, the admin were able to respond to them and attend to them. So if by now you are not on the Telegram page, I think you've missed, like, this would be the okay. If you are on the if you are attended the masterclass session and you are not on the Telegram page, you are still safe. But if by now you've not attended 3 masterclass session, or maybe this is your first masterclass session, please, I would just advise you to drop out. Forget, you can join the next squad, because there is no how you can meet up with the assessments. There is no how you can meet. We are very serious with that. We are not here to joke. And sincerely, if you are to rate this training, if you are to rate this masterclass session, if you are to pay for it, many of you will pay millions. I could remember a capacity building workshop that SDSN had for university lecturers and tertiary institutions lecturer within Wednesday and Thursday in Lagos State. I know how much, a huge amount they paid. But for now, there is no payment. It's a free training for each and everyone. And many of us are seeing it as a free tea, and it's something we can just say anything anyhow. It's something that we can just act anyhow. We might decide not to attend the classes. You are wrong. The goal of this project is to bring in responsible leaders, change makers, people that are ready to move with the advocacy, people that are ready to make the change. You can't say you want to make the change and keep complaining. You have to remove anything complaints from your action. Please, I want us to change our mindsets and do things accordingly. And I know I'm still going to give room for the state representatives to speak on behalf of their states. If there is anything we are here to attend to, and I'm going to take my time to respond to each and every one of it. And the last part is the lectures. If you remember the first masterclass session, we said the masterclass session is going to start by 9 a.m. and is going to end by 12 p.m. So already it's planned that you are going to have 2 sessions per week. You are going to have 2 sessions. There are sessions which we have missed. Even the first session which we had, we only have a lecture. There is a class that was missed during that time. So we need to fill it up. It's for our own good. And even I've received different complaints regarding the virtual training, the trainings, the links which we've been accessing via edX and SDG Academy. It's for good. These things are knowledge that exists forever, that it can never leave you. It's going to add up to you. So please let's try as much as possible to behave ourselves. Please, most especially those who I'm talking to, they know themselves. Please, let's try as much as possible to behave ourselves, most especially in our approach and in our approach to things. Yeah, it's very, very important. And regarding the assessments, I must say this, because the structure of this program, which the organization has laid, is you are going to have 2 assessments. The first assessment and the second assessment. The first assessment is coming up on Saturday. That's 8 p.m. between 8 p.m. and 8:30 on Saturday. Please try as much as possible to get a backup device, and try as much as possible to ensure that you don't have any issue, because any issue that you have that day, we are not responsible for it, and there won't be any makeup assessment as regards that. And please, the assessment is part of what is going to form your what they call it now, your grading, your total grading for this program. And we might think that this program, they just want to give me an assessment, they want to do this and that. In fact, the assessment is part of the masterclass session. It's when you are doing the assessment, you are going to learn some new things. You can score 0, you can score 0 over 50, but if you score 0 over 50 and you see the correct answers, once you see the correct answers and you are able to note those correct answers, it's added knowledge. So please, it's very important. 8 p.m. on Saturday, you have to ensure you join the platform. The link is going to be shared. All right. Okay. The modality for the assessment, the link is going to be shared, and I don't think I have much to say. The questions are coming from 8 p.m. I didn't say 8 a.m. 8 p.m. That will be in the evening, place. And the modality is going to be an open-ended question, objectives, and these are simple questions that you should know, and definitely it's something you are going to enjoy. So don't be scared. It's from the masterclass session and part of the learning resources which has been shared with you. And I'm so proud of some states that they've even done done some kind of tutorial. They've had tutorials, and when I was reading the tutorials, I was like, no, there is no how you study this tutorial and you won't have a good grade in your assessments. So kudos to all those states, and kudos to the state reps that are really engaging well. And to the states that have not been engaging well, please go and appoint your team leader. We have to be responsible for each and every action. So I'm going to leave it here. And like I mentioned, please don't send, okay, all right. The admin just said we'll stop sending mails. Okay, we are not going to be sending emails to you again. For now, you are just going to receive notification via the Telegram and through your state rep. So it's very important you join the interstate group which you belong to. It's very, very important. The list has been shared 2 weeks ago. Go and check that list, check the state you belong to, and endeavor to join. So I'm going to leave it open to the state reps to kindly signify, ask their question, and I'll quickly respond to it. Please, we want to ensure we end this class before 12 p.m. All right, whoever that has a question. Okay, Gift from Nasara, please kindly unmute your mic and ask your question. Hello, Gift, you can ask your question, please.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, the question I have for my state, we have agreed on some of the projects we want to carry out, and some of the stakeholders to start. But then we need a letter-headed address data, and I'm of course ID card. And since the ID card is not yet available, we're working on getting a branded jacket. People can wear to all of the different we cannot brand this jacket if we have any
Sorry, Gift, you are not that audible. Kindly ensure you are very audible so that we can hear your question clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, it's more better now.
Okay, I said in my state, Nasarawa State, we've already figured out the project we want to carry out, and some of the stakeholders want support, sponsorship, and assistance. But then we need letter-headed speakers to write them, and since ID card is not yet available, we're working on getting a branded jacket, and this jacket will be branded with the SN logo. And now we don't have any of this. How do we assess it?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Gift. That's another part of my discussion, which I was directed to address, because what the management decided on is they have prepared some letters. When you're about, even I think this part of the document you are going to be receiving next, please can you mute your mic, Gift. Part of the document we are going to be receiving next letters which we'll be submitting to schools. letters which we'll be submitting to stakeholders. I mean, stakeholders of community groups we want to reach out to, or organization that needs to be aware about any advocacy project we want to carry across the state. So those that has been sorted out. The organization and it's on the organization letterhead, and I can guarantee you, it's just for you to fill the name of the name of the organization and also whatever information that is required from you. So that has been sorted out. All right, thank you. I believe you have answered your question. Please, who else has any question outside what has been addressed today? Kindly unmute the mic. I want us to finish and end this session before 12 p.m.
Sir, my question is are we doing like a sensitization, like a rally of sorts, or maybe is a community project, like we have to execute a particular project? Maybe let's say, for example, building of maybe a pipe-borne water or something, or maybe we just have to like maybe go around the city creating awareness about the SDGs.
So I'm quickly going to say something about that. You know, there are a lot of development projects that are in waste today, and the more reason why these projects are being wasted is because even the target users are not aware about, or they don't have an understanding of what this project was. So take, for example, now you want to, just like you mentioned, the ball project. We are not asking you to do a ball project anyway, but if it's something you feel, okay, you can afford, you have good partnership, people that can sponsor the project in your state, yeah, that's a massive one. That's a very good one. You can go on with it. But it's good, even though if you are going to set up a project like that, you still need to sensitize people about, okay, just taking, for example, go 6 and go 3, tell them more reason why they need to ensure proper sanitation, more reason why they have to have a good well-being within their society and things they can do. So to still respond to your question, the state working document, there is a working document that will be shared with you, and that's the state reps, and this will also guide each and everyone as regards the group projects, I mean these community projects which we'll be doing. I think I've answered your question. All right, Gift, you are still raising up your hand. I think I've answered.
Sorry, please, I just have one more thing to ask. If maybe we have a particular project, let's say education, how can we contact the SDSN, like maybe to collaborate with the state government, for example? Because I brought up an idea yesterday in the group that if we can maybe ask the state government to maybe inculcate the Amajiri students, people into the public schools, but the state government will have to take care of the expenses and everything. So I don't know if we want to execute something like that. Maybe we can contact the SDSN management for them to be able to help us talk to the state government in carrying out something like that.
Thank you, Adeniji. I will quickly respond to your question. Even for your project, you are still going to submit a proposal, and the management are going to review your proposal and approve if at all you can go on with that project or not. But I can say that whatever you need in form of approval, maybe from the government or from a private stakeholders as regards your project, we are going to provide you that, most especially correspondence, or maybe you need us to contact. As far as we have an address or you have a contact of that person, definitely we can reach out to them. Please, okay, James from Adamawa, please kindly ask your question. Then Sonny from Cross River also ask your question. Two of you, please kindly unmute your mic and ask. But James,
good morning. First. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Every state government have a special assistant on SDG. So is there any way we can collaborate with them when we want to carry out projects in our states?
Hello.
I think his network went off or something. Maybe you should just exercise some patience.
All right, please kindly come. Hello, James, you can ask your question again.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, but please make it very brief. I mean, very brief. Let's make it very brief.
Okay, my question is, most of the state governments have special assistant on SDGs. Almost all the state governments in the country have a special assistant on SDGs. So how do we collaborate with them when we want to carry out a project?
Okay, all right, that's fine. And I love that angle which you came from. And even beyond the special assistance on SDGs, almost all states, they have a particular office. You just have to know the ministry. Take, for example, for Lagos, Lagos states have a ministry of, I think it's trade and investment and also SDGs, purposely dedicated to sustainable development activities. Or your states, they have their ministry that's budget and planning. I think, okay, budget, yeah, economic planning, yeah, budget and economic planning for your state. That's where the SDG office is. And it's also important you know where their offices are, and definitely it's part of the letters which we are going to be providing you. It's just for you to change the address of the letter to whoever that you want it to be addressed to. So these letters are things that are going to communicate more information to them. And definitely, like I mentioned, that immediately after we are done with the assessment, we are going to be the admin people are going to share those letters across to us. Please, can we have a question from Elizabeth? Okay, sorry, before Elizabeth, I think I mentioned Sonny to ask his question, but please, can you make it very brief while we end the meeting? I'm still trying to keep to time as promised.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you now. You've asked your question, right?
Okay, all right. So just to find out, based on the fact that, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear
Hello?
you.
Okay.
You are audible.
So aside from the letters, aside from the correspondence and letters, what other materials does SDSN Nigeria have in place to enable us to execute these exercises without any, because you know the state of insecurity in the country now, everybody's suspicious. So I don't know if you have any other, like, you know, of course they mentioned ID cards and other resources like maybe mobility. I don't know. I'm just asking.
Well, that would be arranged from your end. That would be sorted from your end. And I think part of the decision the management made was for states that are very, a very good example is even Lagos State is not very big, but it's a very wide distance. And I'm looking at a state that is very, very big. Okay, let me use Lagos State as an example. Let's assume we have people that are living around Badagry end, and we also have people that are living around Mowe end. Definitely, it might be difficult for people that are around Mowe end to be going to Badagry end to go and execute a project. So you can have breakout groups, and but at least the least number of people that should be in each team should be 7. So in a state, you can have like 6, you can have like 4 to 6 breakout groups. We have some states that are over 100. So you can have like 10 breakout groups, and which each groups can easily execute their projects within their region. You know, during the first masterclass session and the introduction part of this program, we said whatever you are doing should be, let's say, 5-kilometer radius from your current location, most especially your individual project, the advocacy project which you are doing. But for the state project which you are doing, try as much as possible. You all know how your state is, you know how the distance across each. I know that some states have already collected more information, and also on the assessment the assessment which we are going to be having tomorrow, there is a part which we are to update our information, which will detail more information. So, and from there, we are going to send that information to all the state reps, and they will be able to know which local government each and every one are, and see how you can have the breakouts. Please, I just want to take question from, okay, the Lagos representative. I would like to take a question from you, and also Sandra from FCT. Okay, your question have been awesome. So Sandra, please kindly unmute your mic and ask your question.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Already afternoon. It's 12 p.m. We'll be ending the session with the question.
All
right.
My question is with the online courses, the payment modality for this.
No, the network is not out. That's not very clear. Or is it from my end?
I said the online.
The online what?
The online courses.
Okay. Okay, I think the only thing I could hear was online courses. But what I'm going to give to rest, I think, let me quickly respond to the online courses issue. I believe many of us, and please, it's a part of mindset we need to change. We are meant to learn, we are meant to acquire knowledge. It goes beyond certificates. Many of us we've attended so many masterclass sessions today, this year, and some are even supposed to stop attending masterclass sessions. Use the knowledge you've gained and come up with a solution with that knowledge and move on. It goes beyond certificates. And regarding the issue of certificates, like we've already spoken to the New York, the global team in New York, and definitely we are hoping to have a feedback from them. But for the period of September, most especially when they have the what they call it now, that's when they have the there is this international conference for sustainable development. During that period, they make each of those courses 100% free. So I believe that has expired, but we've already spoken to the global team. But beyond that, it's not because certificates, it's going to end. It's the knowledge that is going to sustain you. So please don't let us see, and I can see that some people are complaining about timing. There is no time to do this. There is no time to do that. If we convert the time we spend on some other activities, it's our personal life, that's true. So I'm not going to speak on that. But I will also say it in such a way that because my own goal is to mentor people, my own goal is to help people to grow their solution. We have to commit some of our time to sow a seed for the future. And the seed you can sow now is to learn. This is the best time you can learn because these are things that are going to sustain you as development advocates or enthusiasts. So we really advise each and everyone to keep to those courses, and it will change your mindset. It will change it will build your knowledge across various areas of sustainable development. Thank you. I think I've attended to all questions. All right. So I believe it's been a wonderful day, each and every one, and see you tomorrow. Okay, I might not see you tomorrow. So the assessment has been programmed. Please just take your time to revise what you've studied so far. and enjoy the assessment period. Have a wonderful weekend.
Please, you haven't received the link on Zoom.
All right,
The
thank you,
link
sir.
for what?
The attendance.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
The link has been sent. Okay, it's going to be copied again. Let me try and see if I can do that. I will paste it again, or whoever that has that link amongst the rep. Please, let's be our brother's keeper. You know, sometimes
Hello,
when
please, can you give me a moment, Mr. Emma? Please.
Okay.
Kechimatu, Cross River State.
Just in 30 seconds, this meeting has to end now. In 30 seconds, we are holding people already. Just in 30 seconds, say what you want to say. Yeah.
Yes. My question on this, we are few in my state. I'm the state coordinator, Kechimatu. I was trying to come up with a question the other time, but because of you said I should change my profile or whatever. So now I'm not having any disputes in learning. That is what we had this in sometimes was it last week or this week? People talk about certificate, and I was all on the side of the other side of them, so opposing them. So and now we are not getting. We don't talk about what we are gaining. We are talking about certificate. Certificate is just a paper. It's only when you put it into use that it becomes reality. So my question now on the challenge I have in my state, I don't think we are up to 20 in my state. And if you see from Obudu Cattle Ranch to Calabar, it's about 5 hours journey in a day. As I speak to you today, I attended this section very late. I went to my place yesterday. We had a function, so I went there for advocacy, just to talk about
Okay,
to the.
Mr. Matthew.
I was on Radio Nigeria today.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Your question and cite a scenario. I remember during the masterclass session, there was a program we held that's for climate actors, and across various states. I think we have some of them also on this program. And I could remember a state that they were just 3, Ado, Ekiti State to be precise. They were just 3 to handle that project, and they had to carry up. I think they did a school project whereby they planted trees. Very close to the time they were supposed to execute the project, two other members in that team were not available. So, and they had to do that project, submit the report for them to move to the next phase. So you as the state coordinator in that state was the only one that went to execute that project. And they did the school project and it was laudable. And still the other team, I don't know how they were, actually they resolved it amongst themselves because they have good communication. But what I'm saying, it's not by number, it's by your action. So even if you are just 5, even if you are 10, you can do something that is going to be more impactful than what people that are 100 are doing. So just think about that good solution, that good idea you can push on, you can implement. And I've already said it that it's not necessary that all of you come together as a state. You can have breakouts, but in the proposal, you have to say that, okay, we'll be having 3 breakouts due to so people and sub-team 1, these are their names. This is the project they want to do. And if people are doing similar projects, fine, it's okay. So please, it's not by number and it's by your own responsible action, which I really trust you in doing Cross River that you are going to do something great over there. That ends for today. See each and everyone next week, Friday, and please enjoy the assessment tomorrow. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel.
Thank you from Plateau.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel from Kaduna State.
Thank you very much from Gombe State.
So